of jail.
We're out of fucking
Yeah.
jail, folks.
Oh my God. Maddie, how was your time in Twitch jail? Was it? It was a little harrowing.
It was.
Right. Yeah.
I kept myself really busy, so that helped.
Yeah.
I've been in the mines in the Twitch,
In the OBS mines.
in the Sammy mines, really. But yeah, first of all, the Twitch suspension. If you don't know, last week we did a stream with Transpeaks, shout out Transpeaks, and my spouse Megan, both of whom are huge Twin Peaks knowledge havers, and we were going to talk about Twin Peaks, and we showed a Hitachi on stream. We actually specifically, I will describe it because to my knowledge, you can pretty much describe whatever you want. Like, I think you could describe hardcore fucking. Like, we could sit here and as far as I know, we could sit here and read a smut novel and that would be fine.
I don't trust them anymore. I feel like they could switch up on us at any moment.
Yeah, it really was horny jail. You're so correct. It really was.
Yeah.
So yeah, what it specifically was a Hitachi like holster for a boot. If you haven't seen
River Queer Leatherwork.
Thank you for remembering that. Yeah, if you haven't seen
Yes.
it, go look them up on Twitter or go to our Discord. It's very good, and I can't stop thinking about it.
The waiting list for orders from the River Queer Leatherwork Hitachi boot harness are always long AF. The people love it.
That tracks. Yeah, it is like, basically imagine if instead of like fucking someone with your hands, you could also use your feet. And also while wearing a leather boot. Like, it fits together a lot. Like a lot of brain synapses.
Yeah, it's like demeaning. Once I finally saw it being used, I was like, oh, okay, I could see why someone would like this.
Yeah, you can like kick someone with it. I saw somebody in the video I saw, they didn't have that, but they like said in the comment that like later on in that session they were like getting kicked, and it's like, kick me in the pussy with your Hitachi, damn.
I saw them on, they work on pleasers. You can put them on pleaser heels as well.
Yep.
So not even just boots.
Ugh. I need some boots like that. I don't actually have boots like that, exactly like that.
That's surprising. I would think that you would have some real shit kickers.
I mean, I do. I have a really good pair of Harley Davidson boots that I wear pretty much all the time that are great. And Harley is a, shitty trumper company, but, I got them secondhand. I got them for fucking $30, which is insane.
Oh my God, we got our little subscription message. Thank you for the follow, Gavin. 17 months.
Thank you.
Oh, look at all this shit that Maddie built this week.
I'm like dying to show this off.
She built all these new assets. It's like she was locked in jail and she was just whittling her way through the wall like Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Just building her own escape while we were in jail.
Yeah. I don't know why. I thought that would make a noise, but it will next week. But yeah, if you follow or subscribe, now, right here, this logo will get replaced with a thank you message and then a random GIF. And this was true before, but it's much nicer now. Will play over there. And yeah, this shit, like, let's check out the new digs. First of all, the whole screen isn't like very much different, but I did Prideify it for Pride Month. Yeah, and I'm obsessed with all the GIFs. The GIFs that I found on there. Oh, I just realized I can actually show it. I was gonna show it off while we were on a different screen, but the GIFs don't play when we're not on that screen, so it's just this sad GIF. But
website.
But I can show off the this beautiful grooming GIF that apparently will play.
Yes.
I made
It's so fucking good.
I made this. You know what I realized is that some people might not know this image because we haven't used it in a while and we've got a lot of new followers.
Yes. They might not know the origins of the Pride Fest groomer picture.
Well, I don't know where it is on my desktop, so I only have.
That's very small. Oh, there we go.
This is the.
So,
This is.
use your imaginations, everyone. This is us outside of the Petco in Boys Town in Chicago, and they had very wisely hung a pride flag over their dog grooming sign.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny.
But so then this text, because I saw it from the hold screen, that's from like a dog groomer website from like GeoCities or something.
Yeah,
That grooming text.
Okay, so it'll be a little annoying. We'll have to go back and forth because they can't hear us on the hold screen. But if you look on the hold screen, there's a couple GeoCities grooming gifs, and then there's also Kristen the groomer. We'll have to go back and forth.
That art style is so good.
Yeah, and
It's
she
crazy.
winks, and the dog winks, and then its nose kind of goes. Yeah, a little nose goes.
She's fucking giving. I don't know if people. I don't think it is a knowing thing. Vampires Are Creep said, I love how someone either didn't know what they were doing or did know. Like, I don't know if people talked about groomers like that in the 90s, right?
Oh, that no. I think they were talking about at Pride. Because at Pride, when they hung the Pride flag IRL under the grooming sign, and they definitely knew what they were doing.
That's in the gayborhood, like.
Yeah, I hope
sure.
that the manager didn't know, and that just some gay employee did it and thought it was hilarious, but like the old lady manager didn't understand that reference and would have hated it and would have not allowed it if she did.
It being Boys Town, I would bet my life that it's like a gay manager.
That the owner, knows.
The manager, yeah. But
anyway is funny. I mean, it would be really funny if if it was an accident. That would be pretty fucking funny. But I don't think it's the case.
Magic.
So that's that whole screen. And in a second here, after I kind of show us around our new digs, I actually, in finding those GIFs, I found a lot of really good GeoCities websites that I think we should explore. But yeah, the nice thing, so just visually, and this is like barely what I did. The visuals is barely what I did. This was more than a week. This is like a month of work culmination of a bunch of different shit. I've been learning Sammy. If you go Sammy.solutions, I think is the website. I changed over from. I want to talk a little bit about the nitty gritty of what I did. In case there are people that watch that do know what I'm talking about. Forgive me, everyone who doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've just been showing my OBS for a second here. But this is the panel. So I'm actually fucking dual wielding now. If you look at my fucking shit, I got a fucking laptop, dog, and my main computer. And I'm fucking dual wielding. I'm trying to get Devin to also dual wield.
It stresses me out so much looking at.
Okay.
I can't.
But so here's the fucking cool part. So this is the thing I spent the most amount of time on, and the coolest fucking part of this thing. So you remember all those fun videos that I could trigger? They're still here. They are off on their own menu. This will show my IP address if I'm not careful. Okay.
Oh my god, the docs alert.
The docs alert. The
Ethan Klein, you're doxing yourself alert.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, this is the main thing, right? So I have all of my videos. We got a Wade load over here. Got a wide load. So yeah, they're like, okay, if this is your video board, where's all of your videos? They're right fucking there.
Oh yeah.
So the fucking cool part about this, okay, so obviously, we got all our shit.
Classic piss course.
Classic. And it goes back to the main board, which is kind of just a nice quality of life thing. But you might notice that there's all these undefineds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Devin, tell me a video meme that I could get on YouTube. Any video meme that I could get on YouTube.
The 911, I'm calling the police girl with the microwave. The Chris, is that a weed?
I don't know this one, so that'll be good. 911.
Oh, you'll know when you'll see it. You gotta know.
Okay, tell me, what am I searching?
That Chris, is that a weed? 911, I'm calling the police.
Chris, is that a weed?
Or is that a weed? I might have the name wrong.
Is this right? Oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
This is a perfect length too.
Chris, is that a weed?
No, this is a crayon.
I'm calling the police.
911, what's your emergency? Mary, is that
This is
a
a
police?
compilation.
I'm calling the weed.
420, what you smoking?
It's just the first one.
Chris.
Okay, so yeah, this one.
Yeah,
That's
it's a Vine.
I've
originally.
dialing the part where you're dialing the microwave does seem really familiar, but I think I was never on Vine. Were you actually on Vine?
Oh, yeah, I made Vines. I was Vining.
Oh,
I
you
loved
made
Vine. I miss
Vines?
Vine.
God,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
have those? I would love to fucking.
They're all broken. Like a lot, unless you like pulled them, they only work where they're like still embedded. So I could find my Tumblr post and screen record it. It's really weird.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I would love.
I
to
did
see
a lot of
those.
like just moody, ethereal stuff with like Kate Bush songs. It's dumb truck.
That's really funny. Okay, so now we downloaded that. A nice thing for all you folks at home that ever want to download YouTube videos, it's maybe not even the best YouTube download website, but if you add pi to the end of YouTube, so you change the URL from youtube.com to youtubepi.com, it automatically goes to this. Yeah, it goes to this, and you can download it, which makes it really fast, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's way better than normally. I just Google like.
Yeah,
I think listen to YouTube is the one I go to, and then you have to like. It's like you're going through a maze of virus links.
Yeah,
just to download anything.
You used to be able to have your ad block on it, but recently they changed it so you can't download stuff unless you take your ad block off, which kind of sucks. So we can go here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can go, and then if we hit load, I should have changed the title to something better.
But it's in there already. Wow.
But yeah, I literally just dragged it into a folder.
That was.
Is that a weed?
No, this is a crayon.
I'm calling the police.
911, what's your emergency?
That was so fast. Adding that.
And we could do that with anything, dog.
Quarian had a really.
We could just do that now.
Quarian had a really good recommendation. The brother ooh. Have you seen that video?
No.
The ooh, brother ooh. That would actually be one we might actually use.
Yeah, the shorter the better. I can clip things fairly quickly, not as quickly, but I can. How would you spell that? Oh, yeah,
just
brother you.
Ooh, we'll pull
Brother
that.
you, it
It's
came
so-
right up.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, this does seem familiar.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Great choice.
And this one's nice because so obviously that's a little long, but I didn't have this before. Now I have a way to stop it. Oh Lord, I am so glad that I went off this screen, because when I hit download, I guess this is actually, I'm not gonna chance it because it won't when I hit download, it like has a pop-up that is like, it's on my screen right now, is choose your girl, Riku or Miku, and it's just two anime schoolgirls with
Oh,
their
no.
with like panty shots.
Oh,
And there's
you're in so much trouble. We're on such thin ice.
I can't believe I dodged that, because last time I showed me doing that part, and this time I was like, I'll click off before I click it.
Oh, smart.
Oh, that's so funny.
The one saving grace is I don't see the way they track, like copyright violations on Twitch. It doesn't seem like they have that for suspensions.
I think they do, because it did say in the email it's on your record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it say there was a number though, like a limited number? Because with copyright strikes, you have 3 only.
Yeah, I think it might be a strike system, but like I'm not positive.
Yeah.
So yeah, now
they might just be arbitrary.
Yeah. So now load.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
I looked up his whole like monologue that came from, and it's actually very good.
Like legitimately, unironically.
Yeah, he's like giving like a lecture about how like a lot of people will say that they're, I mean, he's Muslim, so he's talking about a lot of people will say that they're practicing Islam, but they're not actually like living humbly, and they don't want to actually like care for their neighbors and stuff. It was like, wow.
So what
really
was that a reaction to?
testifying. He was saying, people like basically saying people like the celebrations, people like, like the kind of showier aspects of being a part of the religion. But once you say you need to give your money away and you need to do this and that, they're disgusted. They go, ew, what's that?
Brother, ew. So fucking funny. Is he British?
He's Australian.
He's Australian.
Actually.
Yeah. So there's like multiple levels. That's just really great. Really great.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah.
Pronunciation on that. Brother, ooh.
Brother, ooh. What's that, brother?
Okay, so we have a couple more that I added just I finally have.
Yes!
Everybody knows shit sucks.
Yes. Oh, I forgot we didn't have this one yet. Oh my god.
I know. I like
It's
that.
so good.
I unintentionally, because I centered it to the screen and you're kind of in the center, it mostly just covers you. So maybe
That's
I'll fix
fine.
that. Maybe I won't. Maybe that's funny. Now I'm doing them to you, like on you.
Yeah, I'm I'm being silenced.
Yeah, we have all the classics.
Hit the bricks, pal. You're done.
We got the Grimes report, which takes forever, so now I can stop it early.
Yeah. Oh boy.
What, do you have a Grimes report?
No, I thought I did for a second, but I was like, no, I have a Charlie XCX Taylor Swift report. So wait.
I actually did want to talk about that shit, because you like messaged me that shit on Twitter, and so it was like in a different chat that we usually have, and so I didn't end up responding. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah, there's layers. There's a lot there.
Jeez, yeah, I bet there's more than you told me. I'm upset about that. But yeah, so I have that. I asked my spouse's girlfriend for like I was showing my spouse and their girlfriend like this system, and I was like, give me a meme, and Allie suggested this one, which was a pretty good poll.
Wow. Yes.
This is an old meme. Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Did you know it's from Conan?
No, I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
It does, right?
Like he was like plugged in enough to the culture. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
He was funny. He was actually internet funny a little bit.
Yeah, like I always assumed that was an internet thing, but then when I looked up the clip and it was on Conan, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It was kind of too good for like internet of that. Not that it couldn't have happened, but there were like little touches that were like, somebody got paid to do this.
Right. Yeah.
And what else do we have? Oh, and then we have, speaking of getting us banned,
You've come. I mean, I knew you would come, but you've come. I have come.
Have you ever seen that one?
Wow. Yeah, it's been a long time though. God, it's excruciating. Just like
It makes me laugh so hard.
the dead-eyed, slow, shitty animation. Oh, okay. Sorry for the insider anime sickos knowledge, but do you know a couple episodes back when Tom was talking about the Human Torch doing a white guy rap? on
Oh
the cartoon
yeah,
in the
that shit.
90s?
I had
Did
seen
you-
that shit
Can you
before.
look it up? Okay, I had
Yeah.
not seen it before. I don't know if anybody else here knows what we're talking about.
We
other
can.
than
I think we
Marquez,
can
but, like,
probably. I'm gonna guess we could probably have that. It's very long, so it'd make a weird video bumper, but that might be kind of funny because I can
Yeah.
stop them now, so they could be way too long, and I can just stop them early.
Oh my god.
What was the?
Yeah, it's like Human Torch rap. That'll probably bring it up. It's so excruciating, but it also the beat is like a fucking bop. Yeah, there it is, the second one. This is real. This is not an edit. This is what aired on television,
Yeah.
just like this.
I hope you like it.
We have to watch this whole thing now too. That animation. See, I should just clip it so it's just that dance.
Yeah. And she has no reaction.
She like opens her mouth. It's not a smile. It's a
She disappears.
I would also disappear in this situation.
This is for you, Melinda.
Yeah, the sickos suggested that this was like I think they actually knew. Did they look it up that this is the voice actor for the Human Torch? And so like they were gonna have like a song beat, and the animation is clearly like, look, it's clearly like lounge singer. So when they wrote this, it was clearly gonna be like a lounge song. Like there's a conductor. Like this.
Why is there an orchestra? But he wanted to launch a rapper career. So
Right.
then he just asked for them to let him do his rap. But it kind of goes also.
It works. Like it's way better than anything else they could have done.
everyone.
Yeah.
Don't panic. Flame on!
Flame on.
Flame on.
Yeah, I'll
God.
have to.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
So let's see if I can, how fast I can, because I got to get good at this, right? How
Yeah.
fast I can clip this. So one thing that I want to do eventually is
Behind the screen, I'm scared.
huh? Oh yeah, thank you. I definitely didn't realize it wasn't hidden. Yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, no, we just got a Capital One ad this time. Normal.
Really playing roulette here.
Yeah, I think we were off screen when it loaded, right? I did that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But now.
That was so fast.
Right?
And this is so long. We could do this if we just like needed a second while we're doing something.
It's like jangling keys in front of the.
Yeah. It's like, hold on, I gotta pull this up. Let's just flame on.
Let's just flame on for a second.
It's not quite a hold screen, but it's like just
Interstitial. Okay, so let's see how fast I can. Okay, so if anyone has, because I want to be able to clip these shorter, and I want to be able to do it that fast, like live. So if anybody has a program or a way to download YouTubes and clip them at the moment, please tell me. I do have this, which is called Avid Mux, which I think last had a version release in like 2018, maybe. Maybe it was later than that. So I can pull it in here. That's perfect. That'll be the end. File.
Okay, well,
Save. That's pretty quick. If you
Yeah,
were
that was
talking and
fast.
if you were talking and vamping, like,
yeah. Instead, I was just staring.
well,
at
we
you.
were, we were
My
doing
mouth open.
this. So now we have.
Ah,
That's pretty fucking funny, dog.
it's so stupid. Like, why?
So the cool thing is, so there's all kinds of crazy shit we could do with this. What I want is to, okay, you know what I was thinking about? Are there any old heads who have been fucking It's Ferrari, I remember, has been watching since the beginning. There's a couple of y'all that are like regular chatters that have been watching since the fucking beginning of this shit, like almost 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah, which is
it's
crazy.
like we're like 3 or 4 months out from 2 goddamn years.
That's
Closer
crazy.
than not.
That's like the longest I've stuck with a creative project ever.
Same,
But that's also 'cause-
absolutely.
But that's, I mean, I just show up, so it's not really.
Well, it's nice because if I need to just show up, we can do that,
Mhm.
right? Like if I could bring
Right.
shit to, yeah, it's better to have. So nice, Devin. It's so nice to have a partner. But anyway, like a creative
Yeah.
partner, it's been so fun. But anyway,
It's really nice.
so what was I saying? So yeah, this video board has literally been my like this is what I wanted to do from the first streams. Like this is what I wanted. And now I finally am at a place where I literally didn't find it, I just made it. And if anybody is
Mhm.
if anybody's out there is trying to do if anybody out there is trying to do a creative project, especially on the computer, and especially if you have ADHD, but a creative project in general, what you need is you don't need to learn the tools. You don't need to say, I need to learn this tool, I need to learn this tool, I need to learn this tool. You need a project. My friend, Nick,
Mhm.
who's in the chat sometimes, is Nick Knack, years and years ago, wanted to make a website for his art because he's like an artist, and he needed a gallery he wanted a gallery that did certain things on his website, and he could not fucking find one that fit. So eventually he got frustrated enough and just fucking made it, and he had to like learn some scripting. Like he needed to learn some things that were more complicated than just HTML. Like I forget exactly what he used, but he like used like Java or JS or something. And that now he like he was recently at a fucking like he was recently at a the like lead developer at a big web like like biggest in its sector like web company. Like all you need to do is find something that you want to make that doesn't exist out there and learn the tools to make that specific thing, and then that's how you learn how to do shit. And so this is like been
Yeah.
the dream. So I was reminded that when I first tried to do it, I thought the only way I could figure out how to do it was to have multiple OBSs open.
Oh my god.
Do you remember
yeah.
that?
Well, that's been your solution to a lot of situations. Is I'm just gonna have multiple OBSs.
No, it's only been a solution
so
to 2
crazy.
problems, and one of the problems is streaming, like rating myself, and I think I do actually
Right.
need to have an OBS, 2 OBS. That actually is the
Yeah.
correct solution. It is sometimes
Yeah, I
the
don't
correct
know how else you
solution.
could do that. Yeah.
Just not in that situation. So my thought is that I could have a second OBS open that can record anything on stream. So I could basically, if you were talking and you made a weird noise, I could be like, do that noise again, and I could hit record, and you record it and then stop, and then have it immediately go into the video board.
Oh shit.
Or
That's crazy.
right, or
It's like clipping.
right, except it's immediately like we can just have it as a fucking button. Like,
Yeah. Thanks for the gifted subs, Marquez, by the way.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
Very
we don't have a
nice.
noise, so I'm not hearing them, but which
But
is
it
why
did
I'm missing
pop
them.
up on the screen, so
Yeah.
it's- with the gifs, and that's another thing that you had already kind of built some of this infrastructure, but you updated it. A
I
random
rebuilt
GIF
it all.
from
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. A random GIF from your GIF folder, ripped from GIF cities, is activated when there's a follower, a subscription, or a gifted sub. Which is really cool.
Yes, it's so fun. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for letting me rant about this. I'm so excited. This isn't even the isn't even the craziest shit. Like, I also built. I also built. Here, let's do top monitor. This is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And now,
Press.
and now if I want to fucking zoom in on shit, I can I can zoom in. I can just zoom in on anything on my fucking screen.
Maddie, I do this every time I just show my OBS on share screen. You built all this infrastructure.
But yeah, this zoom thing was not easy, and I've never heard of anybody doing this. So I can zoom this shit in and out. You'll notice it doesn't clip over shit, which is really basic but nice. And then it actually, like, the same buttons actually work.
Whoa! Now we're literally going into cyberspace.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Shit.
Yeah. So now I can fucking zoom in on shit. Oh, that's really satisfying.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Load that into spiralme.com. All my hypno heads.
And we got the dollhouse, of course. It's all the same. It's all the same. This is a different OBS scene. If people don't know the words I'm using, doesn't matter. Somebody will know, and please, as we've decided to start calling it, sign our guest book. If you're in the VOD, sign our guest book down below in the comments, and so
yes, YouTube watchers, we love you. Thank you for juicing our stats. We're so close to getting 3 cents in ad revenue
a month.
A month.
But yeah, now I, instead of having discrete levels, who are those people? Don't worry about those people. We'll talk about those another week. But yeah, now I can just zoom wherever the fuck I want. It's so fucking nice.
That's great. That's really seamless.
Not on your screen. It's all fucked up on your screen, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's okay.
I'm sorry. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's just confusing because
it's just the preview. Yeah.
Oh, that's what's happening. The preview is going
bigger.
outside of the. That's really funny.
On my screen, the preview. Yeah, I get to see the whole dollhouse and what's enhanced.
I can. I can
kind of understand what's happening. So it's the bathroom that's like on the stream, right? Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't show it when I'm on, so I can't actually show that on stream, which is hilarious. Yeah, there's a lot of new shit that's happening here. So, and actually, if you look at this other thing, wait, what the fuck? Do you see how that's moving?
It's drifting.
That shouldn't. What the fuck is happening?
So that's the oops, I almost showed a Hitachi boot hold screen.
That was not a real glitch. That was I have a plugin to move things from one scene collection into another, and it accidentally made that screen. So I didn't make it on purpose. It just happened accidentally. And so it's like, that's like
very good.
Yeah, all I added was you guys can't hear us in the screen, but all I added was the please excuse our mess gif and the oops we did a fucky wucky text. Everything else, that's just how it looked when I did it on accident. Yep, and so then to have music for it, I took the theme into Ableton and slightly stretched it out so it sounded more fucked up.
Oh, that's scary. That could be good for like a Halloween stream. We could do like a creepy fucked up internet.
Yeah, we'll have to use that for anyway. Let's I'm sorry. I've been blabbing about my very fun shit for 45 minutes, and most of you have
people are loving it.
Most of you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. Fucky wucky makes me feel violent.
That's Tumblr heads know that oops we made a fucky wucky.
Yeah. I know it.
text.
I know it because it
Copy
became
pasta.
very emblematic of like, like I don't know.
Like that early 2010s internet humor.
Yeah.
That actual people running websites started using that language.
Yeah.
And it infuriated people because it made it seem like they didn't take their own errors seriously.
Well, also it infuriated people that knew what shit did because it doesn't give you like an error code.
Yeah.
And it's very funny that vibe actually made it into Windows. That now there's a sad face when it blue screens is like still to this day that that is like a thing.
Like it's mocking you.
Yeah.
How the fuck dare you? Tommy Needy Drinky. Yes.
It's very that. It's very that.
Yeah. That weird elder millennial Gen X self-infantilization.
So let's
thing.
move into some actual content. I wanted briefly briefly, let's see what I got here. Cuz in finding those GIFs for the hold screen, I found a lot of really cool GeoCity sites. And so we haven't done one of these in a long time. The internet show.
That the button, the like going on the internet button.
Yeah, it's not in there. So here's just some good ones. Tina Marie, welcome to my website. Lots of you shopping links and mistress pages too. I hope you are liking my this is from 2009. Hope you're liking my newly formatted site. I've been making changes here and there. My latest are 4 new boot photos in high heel section and a new neck corset photo. Oh yeah, this is where that you could see that on the hold screen.
Oh my god, this stuff is so precious.
I know.
She go back up. She says sexual status hetero, I'm attracted to women. Honey.
Yeah, see she thinks she's a crossy, right? She thinks she's a cross-dresser. She's a transvestite.
Well, good for her. But what an era.
Married, my wife is my best friend and my partner, and she's also my mistress. But
yeah.
You know that she knows that's confusing because she had to explain, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there's a reason. Yeah. See, she's got support group for CD crossdressers at the beginning of CDTV TGTS.
Yes.
Just get on hormones, babe, please. I'm really hoping you have gotten on hormones.
Probably by now. Oh. But supportive-ish spouse, it sounds like, so that's good.
Yeah, definitely better than it could be.
Yeah.
I'm opening these on yes. Okay, this is probably the best. This is the best one that I really wanted to show.
Oh wow.
This is
Gallery of Friends.
This like shit makes me want to cry, like happy cry. This is wild. So yeah, just stop me anywhere to talk about any of these fucking incredible people. I love Raven, our beautiful Gigi girlfriend. We love you. Probably good and giving, right, Gigi?
Maybe, yeah.
That's like a kink thing, right? Good Gigi, good and giving.
No, it's a Dan Savage. It's normally 3 Gs: good, giving, and game. So
that's probably different then. I love these two.
Oh yeah, the T for T pictures here. The other one too, where they're dressed up for like a gala or something, is very good.
They're so much like, I wonder what their heights are. That's like so different. I think she's really tall and he's really short. Like I don't think either of them are average height. And I love just the random cat gif.
Yes, so cute. Oh my god. Najwa's
really
has
cunty.
a great style. Yeah. She reminds me of that realtor we learned about.
Oh yeah. Fuck. I can't think of her name right
That
now.
intense Michigan realtor.
Transgender Today magazine here on our site.
Oh, not you know.
Oh, look at them.
Oh yes. Yeah, this is like those Casa Bonita pictures. Have you seen that from like the 50s? Where it was like some vacation home that a lot of like trans
No.
women would go to.
No,
Yeah.
that sounds
Oh,
amazing. I love
yeah.
we should look that up. I love Pam MTFTS, Haley MTFTS, and then Dave Male. This
Just
is
Dave.
this is the Grungler. This is the
That's a Grungler.
He's the penguin from People's Joker. He's just
Yeah, he's just one of those real ones.
Yeah, the dolls keep around.
Yeah, throughout history, there's always been one.
There's always the Dave.
There's always the Dave.
Sometimes they're just trans women that don't know it
Yeah.
yet, but sometimes they're just
And
Dave.
Sometimes they're just Dave.
The
The Cuban princess. Yes.
Yeah. This photo shoot, it looks like these two were in the same. Were from the same photo shoot. Like, what are those from? Those are incredible. Oh no, it's the same. Oh, it's the same. Wait. Oh, does she? Oh, okay. She goes by Jennifer and Jane, maybe, or maybe there's Jane is next to her. Yeah, it's unclear, but both of these are Jennifer, I think. Right.
I can't tell if it's the same person or not, but it's great. It looks straight out of our stream assets.
And then we have.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Yeah. Let me zoom in on that because I can't now. The transgender Barbie. It's. I love that with the photo background. I literally thought it was like I was like, how did you get your makeup that much to look like? No. Just an actual fucking Ken doll.
And this is.
Go on.
This is so many other trans people to know at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing that this person had this many friends, trans friends.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I mean, that's what the internet meant. You know, these are the people that we like have trans people that like us. That's why we're doing our show. Because these trans people like got together and normalized shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of why we're nostalgic for the early internet aesthetic, because there was this experience, even though we were younger, of like you're whispering into this tin can and the string is going out into the ether and you hear a voice back that you just never knew, you know, that there was anyone else like you.
Yeah. That's such a good metaphor of like,
it was just like a magic to it.
Yeah. Just really good stuff. Carissa P-O-T-S. I thought she
love
Oh, you can click her. We will.
Yeah, we'll
click
see
away.
What's going on. What's
nah.
on the website?
Of course. Most of these links are dead.
Haters.
Oh, hell yeah.
Archiving it. Yeah. Oh.
There was a much more nude thing that came up that I switched away from quick enough. I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. And then I was like, wait, the fucking images haven't loaded. Anyway, we can cut that out. Nobody saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. There was one more. Oh god, there was just so many good ones. It's so hard. This one I definitely wanted to show off. People in the Discord may have already seen this.
Oh yeah. This is so good.
So this is just, I think this is just a gay assets website. I didn't even like really go through this whole website. We could try some of these other ones. But this is just like GIFs, like gay GIFs. And they're all, I mean, this one really made me want to cry. I love I love this guy the turtle coming out of its
Aw.
shell with the little
Oh, the little-
triangle.
yeah, I love their little butt.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cute.
Do you think that's gonna get us banned on Twitch?
Furry, scaly ass band.
This is just like, it's just incredible the art that was happening in this medium, right? Like
Mhm.
this
is like drawn pixel by pixel.
Yeah, it was probably drawn in MS Paint frame by frame or something like it. And it's just such a touching little scene.
Yeah.
Somebody probably
So
made
tender.
somebody probably made this for her girlfriend, right? Like this is probably like two real people on a real date they went on, and they saw a boat and they got a flower. And they're wearing fucking Birkenstocks.
Yeah,
like a
they got
real
their
lesbian.
fucking T-Voss on.
Oh. Yeah, drawn with a mouse probably. Oh god,
Mhm.
it's gonna make me fucking cry. There's a lot here. This one, again, ones that are gonna make me fucking cry because they're so cute. But
that
also,
one, yes, and that's on the hold screen now. So cute.
yeah, but also they're not just together when it's sunny, that they're also together when it rains. And about solidarity when things are hard, it's like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna cry. Like, holy shit. Oh, like, it's not, pride is not always sunshine and rainbows. Like, shit's fucking
No.
hard sometimes.
Yeah, and relationships are too. Just life together.
Yeah.
And then you have the village people pigs.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Mel Banshees points out that the rain makes the flower grow too. I didn't even notice that. There wasn't a flower in the beginning, and then there's rain, and it makes the flower grow.
Oh.
Yeah. The village people pigs, which is you know, there's a lot of levels there.
Well, I mean, he was the main village people guy was indigenous, so.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. That actually that makes me feel so much better about that. I never knew
I don't
that.
know if necessarily it was even a nation that used war bonnets or anything like that, but I think that does change it a little.
That absolutely does. But the thing I actually wanted to talk and we're gonna get into a little bit of piss course even here, is that is these beautiful fucking I would call it like disability pride. So there's these these guys, the rainbow cane and the rainbow wheelchair symbols.
And then the AIDS ribbon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But I just love that, like, this is not, and I was saying this to you, Devin, off stream, where it's like, and in the Discord a little bit, where this is, to me, feels less like, it's like like I feel like our big conversation, and this is such an antidote to me to the bullshit pride discourse that happens every year of like, should we have kink at pride? And obviously nobody's arguing we shouldn't have disabled people at pride or something like that, but I mean, I hope not, but you never know. So like this is like more than like accessibility. Like the conversations around pride are more about are pretty much exclusively about when they're talking about disability is it just about accessibility, which is really important. But this, to me, this shit is like disability solidarity. This is like centering disability, right? If that makes sense.
Well, it makes me think about how there are still, especially from older white gays, some of them, complaints about things like adding the black and brown stripes to the pride flag and then adding the trans flag to the progress pride flag and things like that, of saying like, well, why are we adding these things on? Well, especially with race, like, why are we adding these things on that are not queerness?
Right.
And as if that's new. And this really
Right.
shows that that's not new. And when you were showing these to me earlier, you were talking about like, why isn't disability inclusion such an intentional part of queer community organizing in the way it is here, where it isn't an add-on, it's this very like intersectional, indelible thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of AIDS, like it was a mass disabling event
Yeah.
for the queer community. And I think that really just changed people's approach. Like, of course, every action you had needed to be accessible in the early 90s, because you were literally carrying the like ailing bodies of AIDS patients down the street with you,
Yeah.
So you still see it in certain spaces. I think particularly ironically in spaces where there's a lot of older gay men who remember that period and who are themselves aging and disabled because of that.
Yeah, aging.
But
yeah, I think that we, like, age politics, really, like age politics and disability politics are really similar too. And I think that there's a like, there's another sort of synergy that we don't talk enough about, right?
yeah, well, yeah. This goes back to some conversations I've been having on Tumblr and Instagram, where thinking about disabled versus non-disabled as discrete categories makes no sense, because we will, if we live long enough, we will all become disabled.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still think it would be really great for us to have a stream where we have some of our older queer friends on and older trans friends on to talk about aging, not just from a queer perspective, but just like the existential and like neurodivergence element. All of these things are still wrapped up in each other.
Yeah, and that is a for sure thing that will happen, because it's so important.
Yeah, it's constantly on my mind.
Yeah, so it's that's just a brief, disabled people are like part of Pride, right? Disability is part of Pride. It is not separate.
Yeah, it's bodies that diverge from an artificially created norm.
Yeah,
that's the same thing as any kind of queer identity.
Yeah,
like there is no separating those things, and there is no separating the disabled from the non-disabled. Like there is no abled person. Nobody actually lives up to that.
No one is neurotypical, like, as one facet of that, right? Not the only facet, not the only way in which no one is able, like completely abled, but like just no one is neurotypical is just a particular example of that.
Yeah, that we've talked about a lot before.
Yeah, I like these little. I also like. I like this little guy.
Yeah.
This little guy running around, like,
hell yeah.
He's not just static, right? Like,
no, he's going.
He's schmoving. But anyway, I think that's enough. Okay. All right, let's do one more because it's completely inexplicable. So this one doesn't have anything to do with Pride. I just need to show you guys this webpage. And that's Zamboni John.
Oh my God. What are we looking at here? It's Zamboni John's law firm called actionlaw.net. Oh yeah, I would trust this man.
Zamboni
if
John
I got arrested
rules.
at a protest.
Yes.
He's also an attorney. Oh wow, but he's like a cool attorney who smokes weed.
Yeah, I think he's an actual Zamboni driver, or was, for the Seattle Thunderbirds.
Oh my God. Now, okay.
And
when I see
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and he's a lawyer.
Oh my God. I think I am a Zamboni autistic more than a train autistic. When I see one of those things, I go ape shit. And like,
yeah,
I've told people many times before that hockey is like one of the sports I will tolerate, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's mostly because of the Zamboni.
Mostly because of the Zamboni. That's
I
so
love
real,
when
though.
that thing comes out.
Oh,
I went to a lot of women's hockey games at Ohio State because the tickets were free and because it was, a Big Ten great experience. But the Zamboni
I've never
was
seen a
where
real
it was
life
really at.
Zamboni. I would love to see a
my
Zamboni.
Oh my god! You
I've
haven't
seen.
you haven't gone to like hockey or like a skating rink and seen
I
a
have gone.
Zamboni?
I've gone ice skating once in my life, and it was as an adult. Maybe as a kid, when I was too young to remember. But and I've never been to a hockey game. The only sports game I've been to was I went to a baseball game. We went and saw the Tigers play in Detroit, in their old stadium. So there was like a very famous, tiny little Tiger stadium that was in Detroit. That then they like got a new fancy stadium. So I went to that, particularly because the stadium was going to go, and my dad was like, you should go here once in your life before they, make it, you can't anymore. And I mostly remember the hot dogs. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I know this guy is cool because fucking look at this shit.
Oh my god. Yes.
Copwatch.com, Policing the Police, a police watchdog group that features many articles and links about the demonstrations at the World Trade Organization in Seattle. And This Is What Democracy Looks Like is a movie production company that put out a great video about the Seattle World Trade Organization demonstrations. And he's got this fucking... Yeah, this is how I found this, was this copwatch.com. And I was like, what is this from? I have to see it.
They're so cute. They look like a Precious Moments figure.
Yeah. But anyway.
Fabulous. If he's still around, any friends in the Seattle area who are up to some shit, call Zamboni John. He'll get you out of jail, maybe.
Let's do a quick Zamboni John Google search.
Yeah, see if he's still with us.
Seattle ICE's whistleblowing Zamboni John from the Free Press, WA Free Press. Yep, they fucking fired him from Zamboniing. Of fucking course they did.
Haters.
Accuses scandal of repeated safety violations, including wearing ice skates on the job instead of street shoes.
He's fucking ready to go. He's like, I'm gonna Zamboni, but I'm gonna get a few laps in while I'm there. Don't get it twisted.
And everyone loved him too.
I mean, he looks fucking cool as shit.
Most recent publicized cases resulted in Seattle Center Director Virginia Anderson paying $3,000 in fines after the City Board of Ethics found that she violated eight ethics codes. Board ruled in August 1991. Damn, this is old. That Anderson had a conflict of interest when she administered a contract for a Pacific Northwest ballot, which involved Selin Construction, her husband's company. Yep, classic town city politics shit.
Corruption. Mellow Banshee says in 2016 he filed for a position on the Washington Supreme Court.
Damn.
Damn, Zamboni John. We love you. Hope you're doing well out there, despite all of your haters.
Do we think this is Zamboni John? Or
no
is this somebody stealing his valor? He doesn't look old enough, right?
That looks way too young. That could be his grandson.
I think this man's last name is just Zamboni. Yes, it says John.
Yeah, he's just some EDM bro. I mean, good for him though.
Good for him, but you're not the Zamboni John.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he's got a Facebook page. Oh shit. Oh no.
What, did he
Oh
post something
no!
fucked up?
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god.
Oh,
where
he's
are we
talking
going?
about COVID shots.
Oh well. Oh no. The tie dye shirt is suddenly cast in a completely new light.
Oh.
This is the problem sometimes with the anti-establishment weirdos. Oh, you hate to see it.
Oh no. Okay, I think he's actually complaining that they got their shots before medical personnel and first responders. Oh no, we're good, fam. Oh no, we're
Okay.
good.
Good.
He's complaining that AOC and Mike Pence both got vaccinations, and Nancy Pelosi all got vaccinations before they moved it, because this was February 2nd, 2021. So this was before it was more widely. Okay. All right. No, he's gang. We're so back. We're so back. He's fine.
Good. Good.
I do worry he did. Something did happen to him because he's no longer posting, but he
Facebook is dead though, so we can.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he has a Twitter somewhere we can find. Anyway, thank you so much for going on that journey with me about Zamboni John. And I'm glad that he's not a COVID truther. And should I add him as a friend? I'm going to add him as a friend.
Yeah, that'll see if he's still alive and using Facebook.
Yeah, if you friend requests me or accepts it, I'll send him this video. So, hi Zamboni John. Everybody say hi Zamboni John in the chat.
We love you, Zamboni John.
We love you, Zamboni
Keep
John.
fighting the power.
I'm sorry we misconstrued your tweet as a scary thing. Anyway, thank you so much for all of that going on that journey with me, Devin. And let's do a real content now.
Yeah. So I have been reading. I get a lot of scientific articles released to me early, just from having been in different like journals and stuff. And so something came out in social, psychological, and personality science recently at the end of May that I thought would be fun for us to talk about, because we had a lot of fun talking about methodology and stuff the last time when we talked about that study on chronic weed use, and this study, and we talked about a lot of the like methodological problems and assumptions just in how studies are conducted, even though that was like a pretty cool study overall, that one. So if you haven't seen that one, check out the VOD on YouTube. But I wanted to talk about one that is a little bit more shitty so that I can be a hater.
Yeah, we got a scientific Sharticle.
Yeah.
This is a first.
This is this is a first scientific Sharticle. And this one's going to be fun too, because we also talked about taking little personality tests and assessments. And this one comes with an assessment in it that is very fun, something called the D-type personality, or dark factor of personality.
You know I got one of them D-types.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I figured people would hear D-type and they'd be salivating and going where, looking. So I figured, maybe we'll spend
There's a D-type shortage.
Oh yeah, there's a D-type. There's a D-type shortage, and we'll see the percentages here. So,
oh my god!
So hopefully we'll have, hopefully we can go over this article with getting, we'll go into it for like maybe the next hour or so, and then we can spend the remainder of the time taking the D-type quiz or something like that. Because there's some interesting stuff in that, and we can take it. People in the chat can complete it, and then there's a little bonus study that they tap on to the measure your D-type personality. That's like that kind of gives the game away of like what the researchers' theoretical view of the world and understanding of the world is. So it's kind of a nice little, not a cherry on top, but like a turd on top.
A turd on top of this shart
salad. Yes. So and I like sharing this kind of stuff because it's kind of emblematic of a lot of the work that gets done in social psychology, and part of why I got so disillusioned with the field, among other things. Social psychology, for those who don't know, it's not the study of like mental illnesses or like how the brain works or like abnormal or clinical or anything like that. It's about supposedly how
It should
social
be.
context, it should be about how social context and external forces shape human behavior. So, I got into social psychology because I was interested in stuff like the Stanford prison experiment, which has a lot of problems with it. But
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm learning some Devon lore here that is not at all surprising.
Yeah.
Some extremely unsurprising Devon lore.
Yes.
All I can think is, they really tortured all these guys. Can I get in on that?
That's literally.
So the only
That's
reason
literally it.
you're ethical, the only reason you're one of the few ethical people in this fucking thing is you saw the Stanford prison experiment and you didn't want to be one of the prison guards. You wanted to be one of the fucking like
Puppet master. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say you just wanted to be one of the
prisoner.
One of the prisoners, right? Like you wanted
mean they got all these college boys and they made them beat each other up, and, like, sleep on the floor? Tell me more about that. What did they were they sweaty too?
Did they were they wearing jock straps? I don't know if that's
take their clothes away and stuff. Yeah. But for real, like I read about the Stanford prison experiment, I read about the Milgram experiment, and like all of this stuff, the Solomon Asch conformity studies, the obedience studies.
I don't know. What is the Solomon Asch? I don't know those ones, or by name.
That's the one where they bring people into a lab, and from the perspective of a participant, you think you're sitting down at a table with like 5 other people who are also participants.
Okay.
They're actually all actors, but you don't know that. And then they show you a series of lines, and they say, they ask everybody in the room which line is longer than the other. And after a series of trials of everyone giving the right response, everybody else in the room starts giving the wrong response. It's very clearly the shorter line everyone else is saying is the longer of the two. And they're basically measuring conformity.
Yeah.
Will people go along with the crowd even when the crowd is obviously wrong?
Is
so that's
that
what that
one?
Study is.
Is that one? Because that could be an interesting fucking stream all on its own. Is because I know I'm familiar with most of these, like, but from like a pop science perspective, like I've heard of them. But a lot of people don't know that like I was familiar with the fact that and probably a lot of our audience is familiar with the fact that the Stanford prison experiment is like total bunk. I mean, that guy.
Yeah. So Phil Zimbardo, basically,
that's right.
Yeah,
that fucking name.
He's the devil. He's also responsible for broken windows theory policing.
Oh, I didn't remember
under
that.
Giuliani's New York, based on a study with a single sample where he just left a van somewhere that either had a broken window or not, and measured whether or not people like vandalized the van or stole the van.
That's so specific. That's like that is not graffiti on it. Like if you wanted to actually do that study, you could graffiti a van, which I think probably still would be much like too highly representative, because like this is not just like, oh, there's graffiti, people don't care, but like this is specifically like, can I get away with that, right? Right.
And that finding was instead interpreted as, if people are in an area where there's lots of graffiti and broken windows and kind of dingy superficials, there will be more crime.
Right. And
generally.
Instead, it's like if you actually assumed that the study actually had any merit, and you were like, okay, well, if there's graffiti around, people do more crime. Like my assumption would be like, people's fucking like, because basically people are assuming that like graffiti means that you can get away with it, right? And so it's not like, if you got rid of all the graffiti, it would just mean that people's like radar for, is this a place where I can get away with something, would change. Right?
Well, no, that was his thesis. He was like, if people see an area that's unkempt, then they will commit more crimes and think they can get away with more.
But my point is that just people's like people, whether people commit crimes like that where they're like trying to decide if they can get away with it, it's like more fine-tuned than that, right? So it's like even like I don't think that that's actually probably like you said, it was based off this one really bad study that wasn't actually comprehensive. But it's also like, even if that was true, it's not like cleaning up the graffiti would like make this an area where they're less likely to get caught, are more
I see
likely
what you
to
mean.
get caught, right? Like they're not basing whether or not they're going to get caught on the graffiti. Like that, even if that was a factor in their assessment, like these people, like criminals are smart. Like that's the thing that people don't understand, is like criminals aren't fucking stupid. Like if they're like assuming that graffiti has some like bearing on whether they're or not they're going to get caught, and then they clean all their graffiti in the city, they're not going to stop doing crimes. They're going to be like, okay, that's not a signal that we could use. But again, that is like taking their theory at face value, which again is bunk anyway. Right?
Yeah, there's that. It also flattens every type of crime
Right.
into one dimension.
Right.
I mean, graffiti even being a crime is
Right.
pretty specious. If we want to believe crime is a useful conceptualization of anything, you know,
Right.
antisocial behavior is sometimes how social psychology also talks about it. And this will come back to us when we look at the D factor quiz. Being antisocial can mean everything from
Right.
beating somebody up to not working hard at your job.
Yeah.
Or like committing time theft. All of these things are getting flattened by a lot of social psychological measures into the exact same dimension of being antisocial.
Yeah.
And then so then
it's a
leads to
fascist,
things
like even if you calibrate the tool of antisocial behavior as a useful metric, even if you calibrate it in a way that is more reasonable, it's still a fascist tool. It's still a like a tool to create conformity, and like, yeah, we don't need it. This is a tool of the enemy. We do not need it.
Right. So that was Phil Zimbardo. So he did that study, and he also did the Stanford prison experiment. And it wasn't a experiment at all, because he, at the end of every day, he would bring the prison guard, the students who had been assigned to the prison guard role, he would take them aside and suggest things for them to try, or would ask them to kind of amplify their abuses. And when he later wrote a book about this called The Lucifer Effect, which was like a bestseller.
Actually, will you back up and just very briefly explain what the actual experiment is, just in case people don't know? Like, like one sentence.
Yeah, they brought college students into a fake prison that was built in the basement of the psych department at Stanford, and they randomly assigned them to the role of either prison guard or prisoner. And actually, technically, students volunteered for this, and if they were prisoners, they would have a whole mock arrest that happened. So they were brought in under those circumstances, and they were supposed to be kept in there for, I think it was a week, and it was canceled within a couple of days because of the kind of torture that the prison guards were enacting on the prisoners. And this was, at the time in the 70s, reported as evidence of how people just adapt to the social role to which they're assigned. But then it later came to light that it was never a good experiment to begin with, but it was even less controlled than it seemed, because every evening, Phil Zimbardo, the head researcher, who was playing the role of prison warden, so he was not removed from the prison environment.
Right.
He was taking the guards aside. Sorry for the sirens. If you can hear that. He was taking the guards aside and giving them ideas of how, and suggesting that they should amplify their abuses of the prisoners. And that led to things like their cots being taken away, their clothing being taken away, them, this like mini Abu Ghraib practically of prisoners being humiliated and until one of them had a medical crisis or a mental health crisis, and the whole thing had to be shut down. Years later, instead of getting canned or reprimanded for doing really shoddy, uncontrolled science, Phil Zimbardo was appointed the head of the American Psychological Association. And
wow,
he wrote, and he's really influenced a lot of policy. He was influential in a lot of torture memos around the Iraq War that he was involved in writing. And he said after the fact in his book that his basically putting his thumb on the scale and telling the prison guards to abuse the prisoners was evidence of him slipping into the prison warden role. Oh my God. It's crazy how people just transform into whatever social position you put them in and makes them evil, instead of it just being him doing really shoddy bias science. So
Yeah. You were like that already, dog.
you were like that already, dog. He is
you
like,
set up the experiment for you to do that.
yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't know any of this stuff at the time. When I was reading about these studies in high school, I just thought, cool, you can torture people. I outgrew that to an extent, or I found out there's other ways to torture people. But Phil Zimbardo made a whole career out of it, and a lot of social psychologists.
He was rewarded for that behavior.
Yeah, he's one of the best known social psychologists, with some of the most lauded, positions around. And that was in the 70s. And throughout that period and beyond, social psychology has studied the markers of prejudice, the causes of prejudice, and in-group, out-group oppression and conflict, and tried to tackle these weighty social issues. But they continue to do it in the most contrived ways possible that don't look at any kind of structural critique or material critique based on like economics or power under the law. And that brings us to this study today.
That brings us to this Sharticle.
Yeah. Grand Chicken Lord asked, have there been any actual good studies on how a role or social position shapes people? Because that does sound like an interesting and important subject. If done, the science actually good. I really think most of social psychology needs to be thrown out at this point because people have been looking for sexy results. And so they put their thumb on the scale. John Barge is another example of someone who did a ton of research that was like, oh, if you complete a word puzzle that involves a lot of old person themed words, you walk slower afterward than if you complete a word puzzle with a bunch of young person themed words.
Is that the stuff that got written into what's his name? The pop science guy, Malcolm Gladwell?
Malcolm Gladwell. It's been written about everywhere. It was very famous. It's all been discredited because it turned out the researcher with the stopwatch that was timing people's walk speeds knew what condition each person was in. So it was not a blinded study.
That's so fucked up, man. It's like
decades of research thrown out.
What is that? The horse.
Clever Hans phenomenon.
Clever Hans, yeah. It's just Clever Hans all over again. It's Clever
demand
Hans all the way down.
So yeah, I would say if you look through social psychology, I mean, Google Replicate, that's a whole other, I need 3 hours to talk about that. Which we can do, but we can't do right now. All of social psychology's big sexy results are either abuses, statistical manipulation, or demand characteristics, which is just a term for manipulating the response of the participant with like subtle cues. It's
we've talked about someday doing video essays. This is the shit. Social psychology. The social psychologist says social psychology is all fucking bunk. Like that's I mean that's
that years ago, but yeah.
I mean that's the video essay we need to make for sure. Yeah. Like just as far as like would be extremely interesting and also has a fucking title built in that is like gonna go crazy. Like I want to see that video essay. I would watch that not knowing you. I would watch that like 100%.
Yeah. We should definitely make that. Okay, we got to dive into this if we're
but that's I think that's useful as like you know, some table setting for this that I think we haven't really talked about on the show, and a lot we should expand on a lot. But that's some brief table setting for this.
Yeah, that's the context. And we've gotten a little bit better with like logging hypotheses before you do your study, so you can't just make up like whatever you found was what you expected to find all along, which used to happen, and all these other things. But yeah, that's the backstory. Personality correlates of outgroup harm. So I'll do just a general overview of this study. I'll read the abstract first, and then I'll kind of translate it. But you can jump in, Maddie, if you have any questions about anything.
I think the title might be a good place to start, because I don't like what is like when you read that, you probably understand it better than I do. Like, what does that mean?
Right. Yeah. So first of all, the term outgroup harm, in social psychology, a lot of times they will talk about oppression, prejudice, racism, all other like isms, more generally and theoretically in terms of something called
Jisms.
isms
Uh,
as
oh no,
in-group.
jisms was probably one of them too, I think, right?
Sure. Yes.
Sorry.
Isms. As in-group, out-group effects. That they've done a lot of studies and theorizing about the origins of prejudice, and there is this protocol called the minimal groups paradigm, where basically they find that if you take a group of people and you just randomly assign them to two groups, and you're like, you're group A, you're group B, and the group assignment has no meaning. It's not race, it's not class, it's never existed before. It's a minimal group because it's based on the least difference possible, just randomness. Even when you create two groups using the minimal group paradigm, you will see some in-group, out-group effects. And what that means is people have a more favorable opinion towards their in-group. They like their in-group members better. If you're playing some kind of game, they will make choices that will give members of their in-group money and cost members of the out-group money. They'll exclude the out-group. They show all of these biases.
Basically this. Have you seen this
Right.
comic before?
Yes.
And so again, since we're talking about this from a a lot of this shit is bunk, like just personal opinion. Do you think this is one of those things that makes sense, or is it impossible to pull apart the?
I think it's really it's a good question. I think it's important to keep in mind that like 90% of these studies are, we brought you into a laboratory, we randomly assigned you to a group, we told you that group mattered for some reason, and then we asked you about your attitudes towards the other group. I think it's really easy to interpret people's biases in that context as they're playing along with the bit.
Right.
They're playing a game. They were told, I'm a member of group A and I'm competing against group B. Why wouldn't I want to try and cost them money? Like,
yeah.
It's not the minimal group paradigm when you're just like playing fucking Fortnite and you shoot another person who's on the other team, right? Like,
right.
That's not proof. But instead it gets
you know there's not real consequences, right?
Right. You're playing in the space. So these kind of findings get interpreted as, wow, mankind at its nature is stereotypical. They stereotype, they generalize based on groups. Ooh, humans are they just think in terms of categories. And maybe that's true, maybe it isn't. But when you bring somebody into a lab and they say, you're in group A, here's all of your people that are in group A with you. Do you want to hurt people in group B? And people are like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That's very different from structural racism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet social psychologists treat it as if it's not.
That tracks. So maybe there's something there, but like impossible to know what the real. But these people certainly think that study, like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Grand Chicken Lord said, wasn't there a study with teen boys assigned to different colored armbands based on that? Yeah. That was a study from the 60s at like a summer camp where they just assigned teen boys to different colors based on bands. And they, then they documented how like competitive they were with each other and exclusionary and mean to members of the other team. And again, and they took that as a sign of like, wow, humans will be racist about anything. Humans are just innately bigoted. And it's like, well, teen boys are going to play around. Like that's what
they're going to commit to the bit. They're going to like,
right.
When we were talking about that one, I don't remember if I knew about that study, but when we were talking about just the team A, team B thing, I was thinking like, yeah, like summer camp, it's like you get put in a house and then you like make fun of the, like, cause it's not serious, right? Like it's fun to do it as a game. which is
Right.
so different than doing it in real life.
Yeah.
That's almost like doing a study where people are shooting each other in a video game and like thinking, oh well, people given the chance
People
to
are
do
violent.
given the chance to do violence, people will do violence. Where it's like
Literally.
that's not, yeah.
It's a game, and it even makes me think of the book Dawn of Everything, when we talked about humans as a political species and how throughout history humans have played with having fake kings and who they don't really follow except for like a month out of the year,
Yeah.
and changing their political systems constantly. Humans are a game playing
We're gamers.
we're gamers to the core, and I think a lot of the problem is when these games get embedded and the role playing that we do gets embedded into actual structures of power,
Yeah.
and that's just completely absent from the analysis here, as we'll see. So again, for unpacking the title, personality correlates of outgroup harm. What that means is they're looking for personality traits that are related to, correlated with the tendency to hurt people in the outgroup.
Right.
And there are two different ways that they look at outgroup in this study. There's two separate studies. In the interest of time, I'll probably just generalize here. But in the first study, they brought in Democrats and they told them that they were playing a game with Republicans. So in group, out group, Democrats versus Republicans. But it was only ever actually Democrats in the study, but they were told they were interacting with Republicans. And then in the second study, they used the minimal group paradigm. So they just said, you know, you're in group A, here's some other people in group A, you're also playing games with members of group B. Do you want to make a move in this game that will cost members of group B money?
That seems wild that the study is then like just on like it makes sense to have Democrats versus Democrats, but you're told that it's Democrats versus Republicans. Like I understand that makes sense to me, but it seems weird that you wouldn't then like also do, I mean, I know it's just budget, but like that you also wouldn't do Republicans versus Republicans, and you know, if you're like self-sorting for this, you know, thank you so much for the follow. If you're self-sorting,
thank you. Go with antlers. Great name.
That's a great name.
That's
yeah.
sick.
If you're self-sorting for this very specific variable, like you would think you would try to get, you know, mix up that self-sort, and you know.
Yeah. Well, so that first study, they were actually just reusing an existing data set. So
oh
that's
wow.
also part of the problem.
Oh wow.
And they also were recruiting from a site that that any of you can go on to make money filling out surveys. It's called prolific.ac for academic, prolific.ac. You can make money filling out surveys on there if you like that kind of thing. And the people who use sites like that and who complete psychological studies are overwhelmingly liberal. There are very few conservatives who volunteer to participate in studies. So that's also part of it. So there's bias cut through that sample, baby. It's flawed from the start. Let's see. Oh, now it's just prolific.com. So yeah, that's an issue with the sample right out the gate, and everything about it. Okay, so let me read through the abstract now that I've given you that overview, and then we can kind of talk about unpacking what it means and what they think it means. Motivated by theoretical accounts, positing that participation in intergroup conflict is driven by a desire to promote the in-group. Past studies have explored the link between pro-social personality dimensions and out-group harm. So I'll translate that. They're basically saying past research has theorized that groups conflict with each other because members of the in-group want to promote their in-group. So the idea here is when members of an in-group harm members of the out-group, it's not because they want to do damage, it's because they're so interested in uplifting their own group that they're willing to do so at the expense of others. That's kind of the old theory. And there's old research that used to sometimes show that actually people who feel very
I'm starting to see where this is going now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So there used to be some research kind of showing that like, oh, actually, if you feel like you really love your fellow members of your in-group and you feel really pro-social and you want to help them, those are actually the people who end up doing the most harm to the out-group. So they're really pro-social and giving and altruistic with members of their in-group, but that translates to them being really damaging to members of their out-group. That and there were some studies in the past that used to kind of find that. So it's like, oh, you're not racist. Well, you are in your behavior, but it's because you love
you
because
you don't
love
hate
white
black
people so
yeah you
much.
don't hate black people, you just love white people so much.
Right. That
Jesus.
Yeah, or like your country or whatever.
Right.
However, while personality dimensions such as honesty and humility predict in-group cooperation, so helping members of your in-group, giving things to members of your in-group, they do not explain or do not predict out-group harm. So some research finally started teasing these things apart and found, what do you know, people who have a really pro-social outlook, who are really high in measures of honesty and humility, those do tend to be people who help members of their in-group a lot, but that actually doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to hurt members of their out-group, which is probably not surprising.
And again, it's would you say that a lot of this stuff, because we were talking about this with the weed study we looked at, where it's like all of these like honesty, humility dimensions of like personality typing stuff, which all this stuff is based off of, is really astrology. You know, it's like,
yes,
it's all like, so much of the science seems to be based off this stuff, when the core axis, you know, the axes of the personality dimensions don't really make sense.
Yeah. Well, let's look at how they measured honesty and humility real quick, because I do have some example items pulled up here. So they measured personality using something called the hexaco. Here are some example items on the hexaco. So the hexaco is like, has a bunch of different dimensions of personality. And one of them is honesty and humility. And we can see here some example items. So people who are high in honesty, humility agree a lot with measures like this. I would never take things that aren't mine. I don't pretend to be more than I am. Or, and this one's reverse coded, I cheat to get ahead. So they flip that, how that one's scored. So what they are saying is that people who rate really high on honesty, humility using these kinds of measures tend to be people who help members of their in-group. And it used to be they would predict that those people would also harm members of their out-group. And it turns out they don't. It doesn't really predict that.
So for me to take a wild guess, this whole thing is about, actually it's the people with personality disorders that are that are the one who
out-group are.
Right. Yeah, I'm seeing the track is being laid before us.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. So to back up a little bit and give just like a little theoretical history, there used to be a lot of research that I used to work on. I worked in a lab studying this stuff in undergrad. It was called terror management theory. And what that research found was that we would literally bring people, this is exactly the kind of torture nexus stuff I wanted to do back in the day. We would bring people into the lab. Thanks for the follow, Fastback57.
Lots of good follows today.
Yeah. We would bring people into the laboratory and we would make them either write about dental pain. Imagine what would happen to your body while you're getting a dental operation. That's the control group. Or imagine what you think would happen to your body when you die. And thinking about what happens to your body when you die is a manipulation that was called the mortality salience effect. We're making people think about the fact that their life is fleeting. We're trying to induce terror, existential terror in people. And what a ton of studies from back then, 2006, 2008-ish, found was that when you remind people of death and existential dread, one way that they cope is by becoming more patriotic, more proud of their in-group, more generous with members of their in-group, more generous with members of their family, almost as if they're reaching for some sense of permanence that's connected to themselves that will last after they're dead.
That does track with like I feel like the kind of popular conception of, you know, what people do when they're at the end of their life, whether or not that's true. But and it's this weird thing where it's like when you know, when a study is like, yeah, that makes sense to me from my anecdotal data, it's like, well, is that because that anecdotal data is true, or because they tipped that was what they thought going into the experiment, and so they made it that way?
Right. Yeah. Is this an innate thing, or is this just a big part of our culture that then they're kind of just recreating cultural scripts in the laboratory?
Right.
And it was called terror management theory. It's the early 2000s, keep in mind. So this is all with the backdrop of Afghanistan.
I was afraid of it. I hear terror and Bush pops into my head like a fucking gremlin. Cheney's weird little smile fucking creeps into my vision.
Yes. And so they found it was with that backdrop in mind. And what they found was that, okay, just as much as thinking about death makes people more generous to their in-group, it also makes them more prejudiced to the out-group. So people become more xenophobic, people become more racist, etc. They become more biased against other religions and so on when they're reminded of death.
Our reaction to 9/11 was
was terror management.
Yeah, and there was nothing we could do about it, and that was
literally the theory. Yeah.
Wow, Bush was justified. There's nothing.
Well, it
that
wasn't
we
saying
done.
that, but it was like basically saying like, oh, humans. Okay, I guess kind of. Yeah, like these are all liberal, anti-Bush people, but but they're still basically saying, oh, this is just human nature. This is how people cope with fear of death.
Right.
So that's again the theoretical backdrop here, that they used to think caring about your in-group has to mean hurting the out-group inherently.
Right.
Which you can just think about all of the political implications to that. There's no consideration of colonization, of only certain in-groups in the world having the power to harm the out-group, and regardless of prejudice.
Yeah, I mean, this just makes me think of the truism when it comes to any fucking study like this, where it's just all white college students in the U.S. So it's like, is this like, even if this stuff is true, is that true of humans or just white college men? Like
women, white college women, because it's psychology majors. So, but
yeah, like, white college students.
Right.
Did I don't know, maybe I've made this comparison before, but have you ever read what is it, The Lord of the Flies?
Yes.
You might know this, but in case anybody doesn't, Lord of the Flies was not supposed to be about humanity.
It's supposed to be about boarding school.
Yeah, it was specifically like, it was actually a reaction to, there was this other book that was basically like these white British boarding school kids got stranded in some African nation, and they like tamed the savages, right? So it was like, oh, they brought their British boarding school civility to the to the wilds of Africa, and so then they end up leading them or some shit. And the author, I'm not remembering his name, but the author of that book found that so disgusting. I mean, because it is, but also specifically because he had gone to British boarding school and found them very horrible, and there was a
Very
lot.
abusive, yeah.
Super abusive. And so he was like, I'm gonna write a thing where it's like, actually, if these British boarding school kids got loose, like stranded to their own devices, they would fucking rip each other to shreds because they're fucking evil because they're British. they're
Yeah. British culture is so fucked.
Yeah.
Especially boarding school culture. It's crazy.
Right. Like specifically like upper class British white boarding school culture, right? And it's just like that's every study is we're doing the studies on the fucking Lord of the Flies kids. Like we're not doing it on humanity. We're doing it on these evil kids that are bullies and want to destroy. Like
yeah, who are in this really contrived, this institutional setting.
Right.
Which, I mean, again, this is something that kind of the Stanford prison experiment, if it was done correctly, was setting out to test. Basically, it's not a bad apple, it's a bad barrel kind of phenomenon. But because these studies are so poorly done, it always ends up becoming, oh, actually, there's just some innate quality in the human brain that makes people cope by doing these fucked up things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is what they end up looking at in this study, because they have found repeatedly, oh, this old terror management theory idea that people attack the out-group because they're trying to protect their in-group doesn't really hold. When you give people the option in a lot of studies to help the in-group without hurting the in-group without hurting the out-group, people will prefer to do something altruistic that doesn't have a cost, which is not surprising when you actually look at how most human societies actually behave, especially when there's some degree of, if not equality, not a huge power differential of one being like a colonizing state steamrolling over another. You know? Across 2 incentivized experimental studies, we show that out-group harm is uniquely associated with higher levels of the dark factor of personality, a personality dimension capturing the core of all aversive personality characteristics.
And these white people know what personality characteristics are aversive. They've decided.
Yes. And we'll dive into what D factor is here in a second, but
I'm guessing it's not as fun as it sounds. It's not as horny as it sounds.
It's all the cool guy stuff. It's definitely
that's true.
Evil autism, narcissism, etc.
All the qualities you want your dom to have.
Right. Conversely, high levels of D alongside low levels of honesty, humility are associated with less in-group cooperation. Our results show that in-group cooperation and out-group harm are associated with distinct personality dimensions. So this is really saying, oh, no, all that past research that says in-group favoritism necessarily translates to harming the out-group is wrong. There's just a few bad apples out there. There's a few people, a minority with D personality, dark personality, who will decide to harm the out-group for no fucking reason. Not to help the in-group, not even to help themselves, because in this study they did keep those things independent. Helping yourself, helping your in-group, and harming the out-group were all independent of each other. You didn't have to weigh them against each other. You could just choose to do them. And there's some people who have these nasty personalities who they just choose to harm out-group members for no reason. And, that's why we see so much racism and oppression in the world. It's because there's a few bad guys.
Yeah.
Not because there's economic incentives to doing that shit. and the out-group's been dehumanized. And you'll also just notice...
Not like we're seeing the epitome of that stuff, happen on our fucking timelines.
Yes.
Is the IDF is just happens to be all have personality disorders. That's all it is. There's no greater structural issues at play.
And that's kind of the problem with this whole analysis. they are just saying in-group versus out-group, assuming all things are equal.
Yeah.
They aren't comparing one group that has power over another, or has numbers over the other, or has militaristic might over the other. They're trying to just capture in-group out-group bias in a vacuum, which doesn't explain any actual biases in the world, because every bias that exists in the world is shaped by a power differential and was created
Mm-hmm.
by a power differential. So it has no generalizability to like anything in the outside world, other than maybe like hating the guys from the other department at work.
This is. Have you seen Severance?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, it's really good.
I know I would like it. I know I'd be horny for it.
It's really good. And there's this season 2's coming out. If anybody's seen that, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, and Quarian says, Maddie, you joke, but there's a lot of anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist rhetoric that claims Israelis are inherently bad. Yeah, that's true. And that, it's really fucked up. And it doesn't help. I mean, obviously, anti-Semitism is just wrong at base level. It also doesn't help any oppressed groups to chalk it up, to ever chalk up a structural bias to that.
Right.
Like, and we joke about British people being evil and white culture being evil, but it's also like really important to keep in mind that those things are instantiated by class inequalities and oppression of marginalized groups itself. Even there, those kids who are evil at British boarding schools are kids who have no structural power, who are institutionalized. And that's what these things are born out of. It's not ever some group evil at its base. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yep.
So let's talk about D factor. Let's first look at what theoretically they say it is, and then we'll take the quiz. Because I want us to be able to have time for fun with that.
I know. I'm sorry. We've gone on a great many tangents. So this might. I feel like if this, because you probably have a harder out today. So if we, I feel like like if we need to take more time with this, let's go slow and make it a 2-parter. I think so. If we need to. So. Because this, there's a lot of juice. Well, you know it better than I do, but I'm guessing there's a lot of juice to this squeeze.
Yeah, there is the like going line by line through everything wrong with this, and then there's the taking the snapshot. So I think we can kind of go through the snapshot and take the quiz, and then we can circle back into the weeds based on like the questions and reactions people have, because people are already putting so much great stuff in the chat about mortality salience, about terror management, like every single one of these concepts we could dive into, and there's cool stuff. So here in this paragraph, they're using the phrase strong parochial cooperation. You'll notice this article is written a lot worse than the weed article. The weed article from a couple weeks ago was like really pretty easy to follow, right? Like even if you're not like a social psych head, I loved that study. Even though it had its flaws, it was like a well-written study that people could follow. This one uses jargon out the ass that just unnecessarily. So when they say strong parochial cooperation here, parochial cooperation, parochial means like small and limited, right? So when they say parochial cooperation, they mean working only with members of your in-group. In-group favoritism.
Okay.
And
is that like
when they say
what strong parochial cooperate, is that like a set of words they just said, or is that like a known? Yeah,
it's from like the literature.
Okay.
That okay. Use. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that's why they're saying it. And here they're talking about something called strong parochial cooperation, and what that means is, confusingly, the kind of in-group favoritism where you are lashing out and hurting the out-group. Versus they'll also talk about weak parochial cooperation, which is more just, oh, I'm going to give my buddies extra money in this gambling game.
Right.
Because that's what this all is, by the way. This is all just how people act in a gambling game. That's what the outcome variable in the study is you're given money, and you can choose to either give the money to yourself give some of it to your in-group members, or put that money towards costing the out-group something. That's all
Yeah.
they're literally looking at is fake money in a fake study. So keep all of that in
So
mind.
if you've ever like done a bad thing to a teammate in a video game, you would you would be anti-Semitic. you would do a hate crime to a Jewish person for their faith.
Yeah, if you ever sent somebody to like jail in like Monopoly,
yes.
you are
racist.
You're the Abu Ghraib lady. Yeah, you're evil. Yeah. So we suggest that strong parochial cooperation is linked to high levels of D. D has recently been introduced to account for the common core. I know.
I can't. I'm not mature enough to start.
They're packing the schmeat.
Packing the schmeat. Go on. I'm sorry.
This is also like so stupid because they'd be like, actually, everything bad with humans, it's one thing called D.
That's like some anime shit. Like that's some like fucking Sephiroth fucking like we have the humanity has a quality called D.
Yeah.
We're gonna harvest
Demon.
it stands for like demon fuck and some Sephiroth is gonna harvest it to power his drill to hell or whatever the fuck.
Right. It's wild. It takes a bunch of concepts that lots of people have already been very critical of, and it's like, oh, they're all the same evil guy thing.
Evil guy disorder.
Yeah. D has recently been introduced to account for the common core of all aversive personality traits, such as egoism, so self-interest, narcissism, Machiavellianism, which is like wanting to lead through fear.
Right.
Psychopathy, so not having empathy. Spitefulness. You'll notice that half of this paragraph is all citing just one guy, Moshigan. And then another person they cite a ton is Bader et al. So there's really just two guys who have done a ton of research on D-type personality, and they're leaning hard on these guys.
Speaking of guys, just as a we should like look into some of these guys. Like I would love to like study the scientific oeuvre of some real pieces of shit. Like I mean, Zamboni obviously is a great one, but I don't
Zimbardo.
Yeah, Zimbardo.
We had the good Zamboni, and then we have the evil Zimbardo.
Yeah, really, they're Mario and Wario for sure.
Wow. Oh my god. I hate Phil Zimbardo so much. Fuck you, Phil Zimbardo.
Yeah, we could do a whole stream on him, but it'd be fun to like find some, but because like a lot of people know he's a piece of shit. Like that's. And
I have other tea about him like groping people at conferences.
Oh,
Don't say that. Oh my
anyway, moving along.
No, I won't give any identifiers, but he grabs people's asses at conferences too.
A fucking course he does. Like a fucking course he does.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun to like dig into some of these like little pieces of shit, right? Like I'm sure we could find people that do all these bad studies and like are only known to these guys, like, and then find like all their terrible interviews that they have with weirdos. Like they probably go on like Joe Rogan, but like not that big. You know what what I mean?
Well, yeah, a lot of them don't even have the sauce to do that, but like they're baby Jordan Petersons for sure.
Right.
Jonathan Chait is a huge example. Another one we can talk about, Jess Sluggish. Those of you who follow Sluggish on Substack, they're right now working on a piece on all of the problems with evolutionary psychology.
Yes.
It'd be really cool to have them on to talk about that.
Yeah,
one of the leading evolutionary psychologists is and I won't call them out by name yet, but like until I have all my receipts correct. But they basically did a lot of research on, this is so gross, incest alert, gross sexualization of a minor alert.
No.
He and his wife published a lot of research about how single mothers of teenage daughters will use their teenage daughters as a way to get remarried. Like the sexual allure of their teenage daughters to like lure in a new husband. like some straight up Lolita shit. And this married couple, do you want to guess how they get together and what their family looks like?
I don't know what.
The wife, this is her second marriage, and when they got together, she did have a teenage daughter.
I don't like it. I
know.
don't like it. It's bad.
It's
is so
really bad.
Oh,
It's
man.
really fucking bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of creeps in Evo Psych who all believe like sexism is natural, sexualizing children is a natural impulse.
I just keep
that
thinking
we
of
have
those.
to rein in.
I just keep
all this
thinking of the
reactionary shit.
fucking the eugenics twins. I know they're not twins.
Yeah,
like
they look like twins. The Collins family. Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking eugenicist couple. Like this is the stuff that they're citing. Like this is the science that they talk about on fucking based camp.
Yeah, exactly. That daughter should be given a gun. You're so right. It's Farrar. Oh my God. Cassie Go Squirrely said they are backward engineering reasons for being abusers. God, this is a whole other tangent, but yes, we should talk about this. We should get Jess on to talk about this if they're down. All of Evo Psych is saying, I like looking at women's asses when they wear high heels because they look like a gazelle and my lion brain.
I want to
This
fuck
is real
a
shit.
gazelle.
I want to hunt that. Like they literally say shit like that. It makes me look
God.
weaker, like a prey animal. Like
it's just fetish shit.
it's-
I do this shit as a bit, and I'm horny for it. I mean, I'm
Yes.
a trans woman on Twitter. I want to be a prey or predator, and
oh my God,
rip
yeah.
somebody's throat out with a fucking my powerful jaws. But that's not
Oh my
science. Me being horny is not science.
The number of Tumblrs I follow that are like, women, you're naturally inferior. And then in the bio, it's like, I don't really believe this. I love Jill Stein. Or whatever.
Jill Stein.
I want to lick Jill Stein's feet. Don't cancel me.
I want to fuck a gazelle, but I do need it to be an anthro gazelle. Like, it's not a real gazelle. Like,
yeah, I'm sexy Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, I'm not a real tiger. I'm not like the tigers that they saw at the zoo, that the Collins family saw at the zoo and decided it was okay to hit their kid. Like,
right.
Like,
God.
They didn't even need a study for that one.
This is pure ideology. Okay. So going back into D-type. D is defined as the general tendency. So this is from Mosh again, who I'm sure sucks. One day we'll look into him. The general tendency to maximize one's individual utility. So like personal benefit, disregarding, accepting, or malevolently provoking disutility for others, which means harm. Accompanied by beliefs that serve as justifications.
I know there's probably is a reason to call it disutility instead of harm, but I can't I can't help like it's like one of those fucking Reddit guys,
It's to make themselves sound smart. This is to make science less accessible to the public, to make themselves sound smarter, and it's because they don't know how to write good. Like I feel superior to every person who's ever written a journal article for the most part in every possible way, even though I'm still too dry and long-winded. Like y'all, if I ever write something that you're like, why is it so long and confused? Like it's because this is the asylum where they raised me. You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they taught me to write bad.
got a fucking doctorate in writing bad.
Literally. And I literally, it's like the babies with the block meme when I have to tell them, use words people have heard of and say what you literally did.
Yeah.
In your study. Oh, somebody clipped the horny is not science. Thank you, Trans Peaks. God bless you. Sorry, go ahead.
I might be able to just put this in the video board. I'm gonna try that. Keep explaining.
Yeah. D comprises two aspects, namely the degree to which people strive for their own utility maximization at the expense of others, and to which they hold descriptive and injunctive beliefs that can be used to justify that behavior. So basically, how selfish are you, and then how much do you believe in like a worldview that like justifies it? D has been linked empirically to a variety of malevolent behaviors. So strap in. This is what they call evil behaviors: criminal activities, counterproductive work behavior, internet trolling, sexism, vengeance, and violence.
They really said that. They really said that.
That
They
evil
said
people,
if you don't do a good job at work, you're evil. You're
They
fucking
literally
Machiavellian.
said that. Yes. That's it. Trolling, violence, criminal activities. Again, that includes a lot of stuff, including a lot of shit that we would think was very cool here. Welcome to Time Theft Today, where you are high in D factor personality.
That should be our fucking You
Yeah.
are now. You now are high in D factor. We're
Yeah.
increasing your D factor by being here.
Yes. So,
also,
are we ready to dive into D factor and see what it looks like here?
just before we do, me being
Mhm.
horny is not science.
Yes.
So yeah, we got that going now.
That'll come up in most studies. All right, everybody. I'm going to drop in, and we can both complete this quiz. Obviously, I've already taken it, and this is the dark factor of personality. Determine your D score. I'm going to drop the link in the chat.
Everyone, please, if you can, please do this. Please do
Please
this
take
with
it.
us.
Yeah, it's literally darkfactor.org.
Man, what a
Follow
get,
along.
though.
We're gonna take the short version, the 16 item version, because otherwise, I know us, like we'll be here all day.
What is this
and
picture? I don't like how racialized this picture is, right?
You know what? You're right.
It's like
very
it's very okay,
primitivist.
I have a uncle that like is rich and goes to Africa, and he's like summited Kilimanjaro a bunch of times, and
that kind of
he
shit.
has
Yeah.
these masks, like literally
The primitivism. Yeah.
that the stone masks that are like stone faces that are like basic like this, that have like the big noses. It's like it's a very much
Right.
a thing.
Yeah. The implication here is like, oh, at people's most quote unquote primitive,
yeah.
basest impulse, they go into warring tribes and they fight with each other. It's fucked up. It's racist. It's anti-black. It's
Yeah. Okay.
You nailed it.
Who should I have? Should we do that? Should me and you both do this at the same time? Should we just should I watch you and then I can do mine, or
I have already taken it, so why don't we watch you take it?
Cool.
Because I can just share after you answer it. I can share what my answer was. It's not going to be surprised.
I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna try to be really honest about this.
Yeah.
I'm worried I might not get a good D score if I'm honest, but I'm gonna do it
That's okay.
anyway.
I'll plug mine in to the side so we can look at how my twisted psychopath. But you be honest, it'll be fine.
It'll be really funny. I would be pretty surprised if I got a bad score, but it would be really funny if I did.
Yeah. So you want to take I only want a rough estimate of my D score, 16 statements.
Did you take the full one?
I took the 16.
Okay.
It's normed pretty well that this is very predictive of what you would get on the 70 statement anyway. And then we can just go question by question.
Okay, immediately, hurting people would make me very uncomfortable. I don't know how to answer that because I like hurting people that consent to it. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
I get.
What's the context?
I'm gonna try and I'm trying to decide how to. I guess I would have to say equal, that down the middle then, because it's like on the one hand, in like people that don't consent to it, I would be very uncomfortable hurting people, but people that do consent to it, I would be very, very comfortable hurting them. So I guess I'll put it in the center. I guess.
Yeah. They
I-
didn't even label the center, so that also is bad psychometrics because it's like, does that mean
yeah,
neither agree nor disagree, or does it mean
but
some of the time?
yeah, that's a great point. I cannot imagine how being mean to others could ever be exciting. I've done it. It's very exciting. People who mess with me will always regret it. I would say I disagree with that. It's wise to keep track of information that you can use against people later.
This is one of my big agrees, as you can imagine.
Well, see, the thing is, I would never do that, but I do think it might be wise. like I could never imagine myself doing that. But if someone told me they were doing it, I'd be like, yeah. Like, if you're fucking tracking your boss, I think I have to strongly agree, even though it's so not. It's like outside the way it's written. God, this is really hard.
So remember, in the study, it talks about how there's both, are you selfish, and do you have a worldview that selfishness is correct?
Yeah, that's true.
So this is one of those worldview, like the writing is it wise to do this?
That's true. And I mean, I do. I think if your boss, if your boss does something shitty, you should keep it in writing. Like, email your boss. If you're going to have a conversation with your boss, get it in an email rather than in person. I think I do definitely agree with that. I feel sorry if things I do upset people. Yeah, that is kind of my core trauma right there. Most people deserve respect. Yes, I would agree with that. I'm going to try and go quick because I want this to be gut. I feel I'm interested in talking these out, but I also feel like it's skewing my results, and I'm going to try and be honest.
Sure.
I would be willing to take a punch if it meant that someone I did not like would receive 2 punches. Didn't like. I mean, do you mean an evil person? No, because even an evil person, that's not actually going to change what they do. So I would say strongly disagree, because I don't. Yeah, I avoid humiliating others. Again, what are we talking about? I'm gonna have to go with the middle. My own pleasure is all that matters. I would say I strongly disagree with that. Make a point of trying to not to hurt others in pursuit of my goals. I would say I mostly disagree with that. With the exception being if I don't know, if it's a person doing bad things.
I think you're on the disagree end of the spectrum on that.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm again dyscalculate, get my lefts and rights confused.
It should have the label floating.
Yeah,
that would be better. But
so yeah, I think, and they also switch, right? Like it's like they're kind of switching. Some
are negative, some are
positive.
They do that so to like counteract like agreement bias, basically. But yeah, that makes
sense, but it doesn't help when I forget which one is which.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it always is hard for me to see someone suffering. Why should I care about other people when no one cares about me? I would say strongly disagree. Payback needs to be quick and nasty. I would say strongly disagree. I would like to make some people suffer, even if it meant that I would go to hell with them. Wow, there's some.
Yeah.
There is some.
That's a spite measure right there.
Yeah. I don't know. Because it's like, for what? I don't know. I don't think anybody should go to hell. It doesn't help. It doesn't, like sending Kissinger.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't actually help anything if he goes to hell. Like, he's already killed billions of people or whatever the number is. So I think I would strongly disagree. People who get mistreated usually have done something to bring it on themselves. Strongly disagree. All in all, it's better to be humble and honest than important and dishonest. Yeah, I would disagree with that too. Yeah, I would agree with that, actually, is what I mean to say. I was very curious what this was going to be.
Yeah.
They don't have one of those fucked up, they don't have a fucked up, like, transgender, like homosexual as a gender or something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's just real straight up. We're not even going to think about trans people here, which sometimes I'm like, if you're going to do a shitty job, do it that way.
Yeah. Not that I really need to hide my date of birth, but I like to keep my shit a little cloaked. They don't have America at the top.
Yeah.
Gotta go down to the United States.
Make us work for it.
Political matters people talk of the left and the right. What is your position? Probably a one left. A one the most left, I would imagine. Yeah, I carefully responded to all statements and agree that these may be used for non-commercial research purposes. Is it bad that we're giving them more data? Probably not meaningfully.
Yeah, I mean, and then I did want. Oh, it looks like you're not sure. Oh yeah, you're hiding right now the screen. On
Yeah, I
purpose.
just wanted to
and then
hide
I would.
my birth
Yeah, your
year.
responses. That's good. And then say yes to the would you be willing to help us out by answering a few additional questions and completing a brief task, just because I want to show people what the fuck these motherfuckers are studying here.
Yeah, so do you belong to a religion or religious denomination? Do not belong. Yeah, religion is real. Okay.
Oh, this might be different than what I saw earlier.
Oh, really? Did they either change? They maybe changed it, or
it might just be random. I'm getting religion now too.
Gonna go with the middle for satisfied with life.
Yeah.
Okay, whoa. Imagine a ladder representing where people stand in the country you live in. At the top of the ladder are the people who are the best off, those who have the most money, best education, and most respected jobs. At the bottom are the people who are the worst off, those who have the least money, no education, the least respected jobs, or no job. The higher you are on this ladder, the closer you are to the people at the very top. The lower you are, the closer you at the very bottom. Where would you place yourself on this ladder? Okay, that is a complicated way of asking that.
Yeah, and it's.
Yeah, what is your feelings on that?
Have you seen that wheel of privilege and oppression? That it's like
wheel.
If you're gay, hold on, let me pull it up because it's so stupid.
Yeah, I've never seen it as a wheel.
Oh my god, it sucks ass, dog. Like, shit. I won't be
and
able
it's
to share
also
my-
like, and it's also like, are the like all of us are at the bottom of the thing. Like the way that inequality actually exists in the US, like the people that are at the top have so much money compared to the people at the bottom, and that scale is so exponential that like I'm way closer to somebody that has no money than I am ever to someone at the top. Like I'm a 2 at most if you actually like do it like in a way that makes like in in a dollar way, right? Like I'm probably even if you they have 1 to 10, right? So if you actually did specifically just dollars and had those on, I'm sure
percentile.
Percentile. I'm probably a 1 because that's how huge the inequality is.
Right. But and one of the big problems with it is that it's flattening a bunch of things into one hierarchy. So if you don't mind sharing my screen for a second, wheel of power and privilege. This shit sucks.
I can't.
So bad.
The wheel of privilege.
I see people sharing this. Some of y'all might have shared this before. I'm sorry. Think about it. It makes no fucking sense. Let's just look at the sexuality one. You have so inside the circle is more power. So here they're saying gay men are halfway between straight people, all straight people, and lesbians, bi, pan, and asexual people. Like that it's forget about like homophobia versus lesbophobia as like separate types of
Yeah,
Depression.
I'm also worried we're dangerously close to doing by women discourse, which is a whole thing. That doesn't really just that axis of oppression is that's so simplifying it.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, and like look at the gender one also. Like gender, the most oppressed is trans, intersex, non-binary. There's no trans misogyny here, right? All trans, intersex, and non-binary people
It's a
have
very
the
good
least
point.
privilege compared to cisgender women. Probably the one that's like the longer you look at this, the more annoying it is. The skin color one is so weirdly fucking written. White is the most privileged. Darker skinned is the most marginalized. Sure, sure. Medium marginalized is different shades.
What does that mean?
What the fuck?
It's just that Peter Griffin meme of holding the skin color thing, but it's like that. I don't know, man. Yeah.
As people were saying in the chat, like, why does speaking English as a second language always mean more marginalized than speaking English as a native language?
Right.
There's a lot of class and country of origin. There's a lot of factors here.
Yeah. I mean, this is so clearly an American. I mean, specifically like the undocumented versus citizen thing is so like. I mean, certainly there is a thing there globally, but it's also like that's so clearly an American dichotomy. Like the way it's presented is so clearly like shaped by American politics specifically. And just assuming that like I don't know the way that works in other like the way that specific like privilege axis works in other countries, and I would not assume that it's the same as here.
Right. And like also there's a lot of value judgments talked into the words. So like look at like body size. Slim, average, and large.
Yeah.
The average person is plus sized.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Like if you want to talk about infinifat and superfat versus small fats, you can talk about those privileges existing on a spectrum.
And that's like
but
if you had Googled like fat phobia and fat activism, these are like things that would come up really quickly, right? Like that is not some like really like that is a thing you could learn pretty if you looked up like fat privilege, or well that's the opposite of what I mean, but like fat and privilege, right? Rather than fat people having privilege. But you know what I mean? Like if you had Googled that, you could probably find an article that would talk about that stuff. It's not like arcane knowledge.
Yeah, as X-Time Traveler says, being average size, being the same as being a gay man or a person of color, a non-black person of color, is absolutely, or non-dark skinned person of color, is absolutely bananas.
That's crazy. I didn't think about the way that these are like the same. So a cisgender woman is equivalent to a gay man?
Yeah, or a person with a high school education.
This is normal privilege. This is your average privilege.
You're a little marginalized. And like, so the body size one, if they used less biased language, it could almost work because fat phobia as a spectrum, as one singular spectrum, kind of makes sense.
Right.
But then some of these, you're putting like 5 different identities into one category.
Right.
Like saying that like you're gonna throw homophobia, like acephobia, biphobia, like all of these different identities,
right,
all into one spectrum, and say that like and create this imposition that like, oh, actually gay men are like less queer, less victims of homophobia,
right. And it's also like there's marginalization, and then there's also erasure, which are very different and can both be negative but in very different ways. And like every identity is going to have different amounts of like erasure and marginalization, and that has to do with like passability, which is like you know
there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, and skin. I mean, yeah. Talk about skin color, right? Like that. They just have skin color when you like white passingness is like a whole fucking axis of like, and that is not just skin color. Like that has so much
Hair
to
texture.
do. Hair texture. Yep. Like somebody can have the same exact skin tone and be very treated extremely differently based on nose shape and yeah, I mean, just like even people that have dark skin, if they have more European facial features, they're gonna get treated a lot better. And
Absolutely.
and it's like they heard about intersectionality and decided that they could like break it down. Like they could be like, oh well, intersectionality is actually just it's literally sectioned.
They intersect.
It's literally sectioned.
I made a pie. It's like, no, it's supposed to be about axes, like forces meeting each other. Not I cut up slices of the pie.
We sectioned off intersectionality. We did it, boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta finish the. We gotta keep going.
This thing.
We are.
Yeah. So yeah.
We gotta.
Yeah,
these episodes need to start getting longer or something.
I know.
Okay.
I need to take a whole working off.
Okay, so I don't fucking know. I'm 5, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
What the hell does that mean? Yeah.
I guess I would say more like, oh, this is just economic, and it says money, education, and jobs. So money and jobs are effectively, so this is class. This is class, I guess.
Yeah, it's class, SES, because they mentioned education too. So it simplifies it a little, but it's still
I mean,
tough.
I never went to college.
Yeah,
Or I
mean,
failed. I don't know. I feel so. I get. I don't fucking know. I feel like everything I do is wrong here. And I feel
like that knocks you down a point. That feeling right there.
I guess I'm gonna go with 4. I don't know.
Thanks for the subscription, Grand Chicken Lord.
Thank you so much. We'll get those noises back.
Yeah.
Not important. God is not important at all. How important is religion in the life of the average person in your social environment? Not important at all. I'm blessed in that. No, I shouldn't say that. How important
I'm
is
blessed that no one believes.
I shouldn't say that. How important is religion in the life of the average person in your country? I mean, very, I think very important to my knowledge, but I don't fucking know. I would say maybe a 4 in the U.S. I think U.S. is like really religious for the West and for like, you know.
Well, even flattening all religions into religiosity is a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
It means totally different things.
Not important at all. Okay. Okay. In the country I live in, people are humble towards the poor and do not look down on them. Strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Admire the rich and look up to them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Poor people are ashamed to be poor. I would say yeah, because they're made to feel that way.
Yeah.
Rich people take pride in being rich. Yes. Oh, sorry, we're on your screen.
Okay.
I just realized.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if
That's okay. So it's different questions than the ones I got when I said I'd participate in the study, which sucks. The questions I got when I was taking this earlier this week were about attitudes towards Israel.
Yeah.
And they used the words Jewish and Israel completely interchangeably.
Yep. That's not surprising at all. I wonder if somebody called him out.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I mean, if they did, wonderful, but it was really jarring. I wish I could show those questions.
It was probably specific. Like they probably used Jewish and Israeli to mean like Zionist, probably. like
Right.
specifically, right?
Yeah, it was all Jewish people have the right to defend themselves, and then Israel is blah blah blah. Like the questions were all about
Of all of the
does Israel have the Yeah.
phrases that exist that make my brain hurt, Israelis have the Jews have the right to defend themselves, and what that means versus what they mean by that versus
Yeah.
what that actually would mean.
Yeah.
Sucks
So, like-
really bad.
So like half the questions were used the language of Israel, and half the questions used the language of Jewish people, or Jews have the right to do this. It was, and I really don't,
Really
based on
upsetting.
everything I don't trust these researchers here to have been making a point about trying to tease those two things apart.
No.
I really don't think that's what they were trying to do. I don't think they're trying to show people agree with. They support Jewish people, but not Israel. Like, I doubt that very much.
Mr. Destruction X, I still got the Israeli questions. Are you still there?
shit.
And can you put them
Can you
in
paste
the?
them?
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
paste them? I forgot. People are people doing this? If you got those questions, please paste them into the chat so we have exactly
Yeah.
what they are.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's random.
Yeah, it must be a series of different studies. It's funny we both got the religion one though. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to hide they're trying to stop the signal.
Yes. Okay, so here's our D scores, but people have already been sharing their D scores in the chat. Continue to do so.
Please continue to
We
do
love
so.
it.
I'm
Show us your D.
Show us your D in the chat. We're gonna get banned again. We're all showing our Ds today.
All my homies whipping it out.
So yeah, I had a it looks like I had a mostly
Very
low score.
low.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm a good girl, and
Yeah.
I need to do the show and get worse.
Yeah. Mine is more to the middle, but still low. As
Okay.
y'all can see. Yeah. So I'm still let's see who's the most twisted psychopath in the chat. Lena Mel, 3.13 and 76. Okay, so that's a higher D than me. One thing really
Who can
driving the
get
effect.
let's get a high. Who can get a high score?
Who's got the highest D? Chicago's like, I came late and have no idea what this means. Chicago, this is a measure of how much you're going to harm the out group. So, you specifically, you hate white people and you want to take white people down. And that means you're twisted and have a dark personality. It's a really bad study.
I didn't even think about it that way. That's so bad. If you say the word cracker, you're
evil.
And don't say. I just realized I should have said that, because don't say that in the chat. We could get banned for you guys saying that in the chat. I'm allowed to say that because I'm on screen and clearly white. You guys could be black people, and therefore it would be it could literally get us banned for saying shit like that in the chat, because Twitch is insane.
Mm-hmm. So I have a relatively low D score, and it's all driven by me strongly agreeing with the not wanting to make people uncomfortable thing.
Mhm.
Like, am I spiteful? Yes. Am I Machiavellian? Yes. But I don't want I don't want to bump into anybody. So
Yeah, you're a small bean.
it's not even that. It's just it's because I've hurt people's feelings so many times accidentally in the past that now I feel like I'm radioactive.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I just got that good survivor's guilt, central trauma, and then also that hand-me-down Catholic guilt. I like to say that I have I was raised ex-Catholic. My parents are ex-Catholic, but they still got that good Catholic guilt. So secondhand Catholic guilt.
That shit goes. Mr. Destruction linked us to the questions. Let's see.
No, I'm
just
getting the same one.
Yeah, so you'll have to copy and paste the actual questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, or screenshot. Oh,
yeah.
Mel Banshee, if you're getting the right screenshots, if you're getting the Zionism ones, copy and paste them into the chat.
Yeah, it's because it's going by your whatever condition you were assigned to already by IP address. So
Hey, Cassie. Hey.
that Catholic guilt. Oh, yeah, that one does a real number. I mean, Protestants, we have some we're really annoying, but it's different. We're way shittier to other people, I feel like, than Catholics are to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll go back to the main study.
I got them to can screenshot and put in the Discord. Yeah, that would be perfect too.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's gross. I got Catholic Guilt Mexican edition. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's got its own particular flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the colonialism on top of it. That's,
yeah.
That's feels good.
Feels good coming in and coming out.
Yeah. God. Yeah. So yeah, you can see my answers. It's
Oh yeah. No, let me see those. I'm not.
Yeah,
looking.
they're in a different order, but I feel sorry if I do things that upset people, kind of thing. But I do have people who mess with me always regret it, and that's just strongly agree because my enemies just die. It just happens. This is just a fact of my life. My enemies die, which is part of why I'm afraid to hurt people because
you're one punch man. Like
I'm literally. British guilt, Jewish guilt, everybody share what kind of guilt they got.
In the chat, everybody in the chat, share your specific kind of guilt.
Yeah, Devin's got a death note. I did curse magic on an ex of mine, and then he. A lot of bad stuff happened.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but
we should hex. We should come together and hex the moon.
Just like Lana when she was doing that to like put a curse on Donald Trump.
That's what I was thinking of too. Let's can we come together and hex both Trump and Biden and maybe get them both killed? We should have somebody on that really does that shit and hex candidates.
A lot of people won't do the people who actually do practice magic. They're like, no, it's gonna come back for you in threes. You don't fuck with that stuff.
Yeah.
People don't really do it. Yeah, it's kind of sacrilegious. Meanwhile, I was just whatever, burning shit in my courtyard or whatever, making sigils that I looked up online.
Sigils kick ass. I'm very much like a not. I would say I'm pretty close to a Gnostic atheist. But sigils fucking kick ass. And remember Shinzo Abe? Whatever happened to him? Okay, so
love it.
So we're kind of waiting to see if somebody will put that in the
Discord. Oh yeah, they posted it. I can
perfect.
open it up on my screen share. Okay, you got it. Perfect. Cool.
Can I make that bigger? No, but I can make it bigger this way. I'm so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Israel treats the Palestinians like Nazis treated the Jews. Oh
Off
man,
to a really great start.
So okay.
Longest thread in forum history.
Just as open to having Jewish friends as I am friends with other sections of society. Israel is right to defend itself against those who want to destroy it. I'm comfortable spending time with people who openly support Israel. In business, Jewish people can be trusted just as much as other people in my country. Israel's supporters are bad influence on our democracy. Israel can get away with anything because its supporters control the media. Israel has a right to exist as a homeland for the Jewish people. Man, the dog whistles.
Yeah, it's so gross. Yeah, anti-Semite measure. Yep. And it's like anything meaningfully you were trying to study to make your research more current and applied to the genocide is just it's so gross to mix these things in together.
Yeah,
I firmly believe there are some things you just should not study because it's fucked up.
Yeah.
We don't have a right to know everything when it's presented in this fucked up way. And it's
Hachi Machi, y'all.
Yeah.
Holy dooly.
Yeah.
What a bad study. Are you guys putting your scores in here? What scores did we get? Who has the highest score so far? Did we
Well, I think so far has the highest D score. I'd be curious.
who did you say? You cut out a little.
Lena Mel. And people who got a higher D score, share with us what twisted ones you got a high rating on. Vampires or Creeps got a 66%. That's relatively high. Yeah.
And it's evil. You got the evil D score almost. 66.6.
Yeah. Vampires are Creeps, but also you are Creeps.
What was mine?
Yours was like a really low percentage.
Mine was pretty low. Yeah, my score was 1.81 and my rank was 12%.
Yeah, Lena Mel still, because I forgot the percentage conversion. Lena Mel, the 3.1 translates to a 76%, so that's still the highest, I feel like, so far. Usable plug got a 32. Yeah.
This doesn't surprise me. I don't know why. I think I have trouble being mean even when I should be. You know, like that's really kind of my Achilles heel. So it really doesn't surprise me. Like I should get meaner.
TransPeaks got the 83%. Yes.
Damn, hell yeah.
And one thing I did just really want to like highlight about some of those questions, and I think, people who agreed with more of the items, I'm sure this jumped out at you. Like, it completely doesn't take into account whether you're a marginalized person in society and you have to do certain things in order to survive and look out for yourself. Like, being more suspicious of the out group when you're a marginalized person is very different. And it's just treating it here as it's reverse racism or whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what I did for demographics too, I'm sure that didn't influence my score, but I was like basically the middle of the ladder and I was white and I was female. I wrote female, so that was 1 point of marginalization, but that really did not register my marginalization at all. And I guess my race would have, if I wasn't white, that would have gotten registered on there, I guess, but
Yeah. So how much do these results then, and they don't break it down this way in the study, but like if they were to find that certain marginalized groups have a higher D factor,
right.
That and goes then into really fucked up
that's the reason that they don't do it, because they would find that and then evil people would be like, oh yeah, black people have the D.
Right.
And then they would just they wouldn't like question like, oh actually maybe we're doing maybe we're doing race science, like,
Oh my god. Well, there's a whole subfield of psychology that's called what's it called? It's called like grounded prejudice or something like that. Or,
it's just they get where they get the calipers out and start.
Yeah. I used to have a colleague in the same department who would do like, well, it makes sense that people are afraid to go to these neighborhoods because statistically there's more crime. It's like, well, how is this useful information to look? Racists are right, actually. Okay, cool. Great research.
Great. You did a great job.
Yeah. Oh. It's
Lena Mel, I do there might be more you wrote. I do also just have a tendency towards impulses to be a cunt to people for my own benefit.
And we support that here.
We support that.
Especially, again, collect incriminating information on your boss. Notice things. Protect yourself.
Dance on them.
It's not always cool to be cool. You gotta
that's right. Yes, that's what it was about.
Grand Chicken Lord says, I cannot imagine how being mean to others could ever be exciting. I have a very good imagination.
Yeah, it reminds me of those, like, how much pain are you in?
Right.
One is no pain and 10 is the worst pain you can imagine. It's like, I can imagine a lot of pain. I don't exist in the, I'm not in the I have no mouth and I must scream book. So I guess I'm a 0 always.
Right.
I'm not being I haven't been abducted by a Cenobite, so I guess I'm a 1 just always.
I haven't been abducted by a Cenobite, and so I am in excruciating pain because I want to be up there.
Because,
I need
Lord,
the
I've
hooks
seen
in
what you've
me.
done for others.
And I want it for me. Especially the fat one with the sunglasses. I need him.
I need the one with the CD ejector mouth.
I need the guy that's just the whatever Doctor Who skin man. So okay, does anybody have any other like lingering questions, thoughts, reactions to this study? I know I kind of blew through the methodology, but so I could get into more detail about a lot of these things, but that's like the simple snippet. I think it kind of touches on just how much
we went on a lot of tangents that were really useful, even if we didn't get into the weeds of this study.
Yeah, and I love an opportunity to dunk on Phil Zimbardo.
Yeah, I would love. I kind of said this before, but it'd be like I'd love we could do a whole stream on Phil Zimbardo, but we could also just do, because like there are so many studies like that are in the popular culture, like consciousness, and I feel like I'm familiar with a lot of them. But so it'd be really cool to just go through like, let's look at the San Francisco prison experiment, what it purports to show, what its effects were, and how it actually was, and how fucked up it was. But then also, I'm sure there's a lot of studies that I'm sure there are studies that I might reference, like, and have as part of my part of my like knowledge base that you're like, oh, actually that's like really fucked up for these reasons and doesn't actually show anything. And
oh my god, like, I mean, I was talking earlier about the terror management stuff. All that research has been discredited, by the way.
Right.
Like, I didn't even get into that. Like, all of that research showing like, oh, people become more in-group favoring and more out-group attacking when they've been reminded of death. Turns out it was all methodologically and statistically unsound. It's all been discredited. There goes 3 years of my life, and decades of other people's.
Yeah.
Implicit bias. Like, is there something real there? Probably, yeah. Is how it's measured and interpreted useful a lot of the time? No.
Cassie Goes Squirrely asks, has this ship been validated? I assume this is the first time they've used it.
Oh yeah, it's been pretty heavily validated. But what that means is like the way you do a lot of statistical validation stuff, because this used to be my whole thing. This is what I have like first author like studies on, is like scale development, measure development. A lot of that just means is, do these responses to each of these individual items hang together? Like, so does a person's answer to question 1 correlate to their answer to question 4?
Mm-hmm.
And do all of these measures, like when you compute the average of them, somebody's average D-score, does that correlate to an existing measure of narcissism? Does that correlate to an existing measure of Machiavellianism, the things you would expect? So it's kind of garbage in, garbage out, because how good was that measure of Machiavellianism? You know what I mean?
There's not a ground to stand on. Like, it's all just made up shit, and you're measuring it against other made up shit. So
yeah. And so, yeah, these generally are things that predict how somebody acts in a funny fake betting money in the laboratory game.
Yeah, I would definitely be a lot different. I would, yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to know because I would be so aware of like what these studies mean now, having talked about this. But I feel like having not had this conversation, having not like thought as much about social psychology, I definitely like, in the context of a game, it's fun to like have an in-group and an out-group. Like that's fun. Yeah. I mean, that's what sports are about, right? Like,
right.
Like, it's
that's
fun.
What scanning is.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's some pretty evil shit goes on in that, but
I mean, in sports too,
It's true.
like,
yeah.
and people look at that and they say, oh, humans are just, they say, again, really fucked up primitivist stuff like human beings are tribal, quote unquote, and fight. And it's like, well, what are the factors going on here that contribute to this? Textual stuff.
Being horny is not science.
Yeah.
I gotta crop that. The way we can now just have clips as video things is really important technology, I think.
Your board is going to be so hard to navigate because we're going to have so many of these.
Well, what I was thinking is what I can do is I can have multiple boards. Right? So I can have like the standard one, and then I could have one of like dumb memes we probably won't use very much. But anyway.
And you've made it with before your board had like images.
Yeah.
Is that something you can still do if that would make it easier for you?
Okay, so the shit that is possible hypothetically is fucking wild. So right now I can't just take an image and a sound. Like for example, last week I had in our Lost episode, or no, that was in the Collins episode. I had the John Pork one, and that was an image and a sound. And the way I had done it is like that's a JPEG and a MP4, right? And so I would just trigger them both at the same time. So in this system, no, I can't do that. But hypothetically, I can modify it so that I could like it would know what kind of file it is, and if it's a JPEG, it could take the next file and put it into a sound thing, and then like have a time. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that shit is possible. Yeah. It's just it would take more development. What I really want to do, there's like so much shit I want to be able to do. So basically, right now, so we have this one. Which that one was actually from our drinking and driving stream.
Yes, I remember that.
We never actually used because it was supposed to be if we ran out of prompts, and we never ran out of prompts. So right now, obviously, that could be green screened, but like it's this. I'm sorry, I'm getting into the weeds, but it's one source. I'm changing the. If anybody is into this shit, I would love to talk to you because I'm so excited about this shit and I want to do more with it, and I would love buddies to do this shit with. If you have your own stream you're trying to do this shit for, hit me up, we'll talk.
Yeah, hire her. Like,
or fucking hire me. Yeah, I would do this
such good work.
I would do this shit for somebody else that I'm not on the show of. I would sit here and be the secret like producer for your show if you hire me. That shit would be so fucking cool.
Not to be grind set minded, but like that would be such a good job for you. If you had if you have to do a work helping people come up with these concepts and executing them, you're so good at it. There's so many possibilities.
The McElroys have a guy that does this, and I think I could do crazier shit than they're doing. Like, I don't think they need to be doing crazier shit than what they're doing on McElroy Clubhouse. It's fun, but like I could do crazier shit.
You just need to find some podcast that wants to pivot to live or add a live to their Patreon or something, and be their producer, like, or we need to blow up and act like we don't know nobody. So
there's one. That's
fun. my first goal.
We need to. Oh, Charlie, you're really making it easy to type. Was it my first goal? Is that?
Yeah, my main goal is to blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
My main goal is to blow up.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I love him.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Oh, that's where's the original? See, the one I always think of is I think, is it this one?
Then act like I don't know.
There's one where it's like, my main goal is to blow up. And then he just explodes.
Oh.
That's the one I always think of. This one?
So that one,
original?
Yeah.
I
think we saw it. Is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
There we go.
There we go. That's iconic.
There you go. And then you can vamp for me while I make that into a
Yeah. That everyone is Riff Raff. If you've seen the movie Spring Breakers, that's who James Franco or whoever the fuck it is pretending to be.
Oh, right. I
This
was gonna say, was he in that? And then no, he's just pretending
life
to
would have
be
been
him.
the world if Riff Raff had played himself in Spring Breakers, and it's like a paradise. And yeah, he had a
blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
speaking of Vine stars, he used to just like have so many vines of just himself taking like codeine gummy bears and
Oh,
his
that
dog
tracks.
looking at him scared.
No, that's so upsetting, but so funny. Oh, that's so funny.
I know. As far as I know, Riff Raff is basically harmless except to himself. He's had he's a little bit of a spiral queen.
Yeah.
But
That's my impression too.
Yeah, a Jeremy Fragrance core. Like, are you okay? I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
I think he found God. He started lifting weights about it. That seems to help a lot of people until it becomes an obsession of its own.
Yeah.
Codeine gummy bears. Yep, US baby.
Okay, so
Codeine gummies.
just today while we're I think I can crop in this too. If anybody knows how to see, I need to learn how to use this because I need to get really, because I think I can get really fast at this. Because look, if you actually look at this border, I don't know how well you can see that on stream, but this is clearly like someone uploaded a square image and that has a fucking black bars, and then it's like other black bars have then been added over that.
That's the kind of shit I would do.
Like this is many layers deep of downloading and re-uploading. It's like yeah. I think there's a way to crop, but I don't know what it is. Anyway.
And act like I don't know nobody.
Goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
I love him. That is the Florida man. When you hear Florida man, that's him.
That's so good. Yeah, what I want to do also is, so we talk about some pretty heavy shit on here, and I don't want a chat member to be able to play that when we're talking about a heavy thing. But also I want to have a mode that will be like fun mode that isn't as serious when we're like in the dollhouse or whatever, where chat can play all of those
Yeah,
buttons.
if we could turn it on so people could use like a lot of streamers have done something where it's like sabotage me while we're playing a game, use bits or bickies or whatever to like throw some riffraff on the tracks.
Yeah, I think I want to have a button that's just like turn on fun mode where you guys can just play with all of these toys that I've developed when we're just doing the dollhouse or something stupid.
Right.
But anyway, I know you got to get out of here. You got stuff you got to do.
Yeah.
This was
I have to line up for Katja. For any drag races.
But thank you so much. Thank you guys for hyping me up about this new stream setup. I'm so excited about it.
It looks dope. I don't think you mentioned this on the stream, but like you're going for it, like looks like you're actually on a GeoCities website with the side scroll, like the sidebar. It fucking rules.
So the idea is that on the left there. So another thing I actually really like about this is chat is on the left, which no streams do. Streams always, and this has been the case because this is always how we've done it, and this is the reason why, because almost every streamer has their face and chat on the right, just because that's the default, and Twitch's chat by default is like, or I don't think you can change it. It's like on the right of the stream, so you can like close it and open it, and it's on the right. So it makes sense to have our chat next to the chat that you can actually interact with. But I think it's really funny that we're just doing it differently than everyone else for seemingly no reason. But except the reason is to commit to the bit to make it look like a web page, because it's the left hand like link bar. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks great. It looks like website.
They're all the same. What I really want is a scene transition. So you can have different scene transitions. So like right now it fades. That's the default one. I really want this probably doesn't exist. If somebody can build me one where when I go to the next scene, all of the sources like pop in like they're loading from an old web like slow connection website. So even if they would like fucking like have to load top to bottom, that shit I would pay money for that. That would be so
my
fucking
God.
good.
That would be really good. Like, yeah, some kind of thing for when we're switching to like watching a video or something, like
Yep.
like a like janky buffering thing or like image loading. Oh, that'd be dope.
I also want suggestions. So I have like there's a lot that I can do, and now that I have a system, I want to start to implement. Like I said, it'd be fun if you guys could trigger all of those video boards. That's a thing that'll happen, but it would have to be only when only when we're in like a fun mode, when we're not talking about like fucking genocide or some shit. But so what I want more of, and I haven't come up with many ideas for this. I want ways you guys can interact with the stream that is fun, but wouldn't take away from us if we're talking about a serious discussion where we can't get sidetracked by it. So I don't know what that would look like. Like for example, the follow notifications, they should have a slight sound that they don't have, but they will have like they used to have in the past, like a click or something like that. Like that level of like we can ignore it and we can like maybe we can talk about it when we get to the end of our sentence, end of what we're talking about or something like that.
Yeah.
A fun mode cue. Let me know when I should flip these Crocs straps back,
Put them in sport mode, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was another thing that we talked about this week is and our friend Spoonie Cat has Spoonie Plays on Twitch has done this where members of the chat can submit YouTube videos to a queue, and then we watch and just react to those YouTube videos. I think we want to keep an eye on it loosely for moderation and copyright and shit like that, but like I think that would be a really fun hang.
Yes, we should do one of those streams.
I
did just realize, this is mostly completely unrelated, but it reminded me, before we go, I know we got to get out of here. I think we have to watch the trailer for Street Uni X. So this is a mutual of mine on Twitter that makes this game, and it looks fucking good. And the reason I wanted to show it is because I think we're gonna try and have Daffodil on the show. That is not confirmed, but at some point. So I wanted to, and this game comes out next week, so it comes out before our next show. So I wanted to fucking put this on your Steam wish list or your fucking what's the other the other site.
Tell Daffodil that you did because of the stream.
Yeah.
Then she'll be on our stream.
Yeah, they're gonna come on, I think. So, but fucking play this game. It looks sick. And this trailer is sick.
This is such a good quality trailer, and it's so vintage.
It's really good. And that's them. That's Daffodil. Like, they can really do all this shit on a unicycle.
That's dope. So we have the Tony Hawk of unicycles is making the Tony Hawk of skater.
Yeah. They would be pro, but they're non-binary, and so none of the leagues will like let them like the leagues are all set up as gendered.
This looks so good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love their outfit too.
I'm so inspired by their fists.
Play as real pro unicyclists from around the world, perform real unicycle tricks, and learn massive high-scoring combos.
Play as real unicycles.
And find hidden gaps to unlock new levels, secret riders, and game-changing machines, all on one wheel.
The fucking Android G1 for the menu, for the pause menu. Ugh.
So fucking good. And in terms of next week, we got confirmation during this stream that that TransPeaks is going to be able to join us next
perfect.
week. during our
Hell yeah.
regular time. So everybody
yeah.
who saw us got suspended last week on Wednesday evening. We are going to be at our normal time next Friday, right? We're going to be talking about Twin Peaks, Denise, this really interesting theory that Trans Peaks has about Denise and there being connections between Twin Peaks and Silence of the Lambs, which I'm really excited to learn about. And Maddie's spouse Megan is also a big Twin Peaks head, and they're going to be joining us. So
Yeah. Speaking of,
we're going to get redemption.
Yeah. Speaking of cool people on the internet, yep. Follow Trans Peaks on Instagram. Extremely good meme. This I mentioned Trans Peaks in our discussion about TV Glow and People's Choker, and because we had a conversation about it ahead of time to help me get some of my thoughts in order because of this very good meme that they made.
Yes.
So thank you to her.
So yes, it's going to be a great crossover event. She made this beautiful graphic. Yes.
Yep.
Watch the space. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Maddie, for building these amazing fucking assets.